feel lonely by your side in the middle of the night. I feel lonely by your side in the middle of the night. I'm standing in the dark. I'm listening to you, and all I feel is love. Aggressive vibes consuming me. I'm falling just for you. It's all I get. 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 So consume me. I feel lonely by your side in the middle of the night. I feel lonely by your side in the middle of the night. I'm standing in the dark. I'm listening to you, and all I feel is love. Aggressive vibes consuming me. I'm falling just for you. It's all I get. 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 So consume me.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, beautiful day, boys. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope all of you are having a good one. We got ourselves more 5V5 1v1 duels on the evening, boys. I'm excited for these ones, man. Yesterday's were a lot of fun. I want to see how NA does it this time, because EU did a really, really good job. Yo. By the way, when I made the post, check out the image on that one. That one is just really good looking. Oh my god, I have no idea how that turned out the way that it did. Yo, I'm so excited, dude. We got 10:05 very, very, very soon in just what, like a couple of weeks now, right? Just like a week or two. Is it a week or two? So it is on 24th. So this Tuesday is 17th. The week after that is 24th. So less than 2 weeks, really. Not gonna wait all 14 days, like a 12-day, 10-day close to wait time. That's not bad at all, man. Apparently they got even more like catch-up benefits too. I haven't got to explore those on PTR yet, but apparently they got a whole new invasion thing where you go into like that alternate. If you ever done the quest line with a bronze Dragonflight, you go to like that alternate, like the area, the conflux of time area, and you go like to the portal to like the Primalist future when Primalist won and they took over. Apparently there's gonna be more stuff going on there. There's gonna be like a big Frosty event, so I think they're setting up that the next incarnate we'll be fighting is probably gonna be the Frost one. I mean, it's a very Frost theme that we got, you know, after defeating Razageth, spoiler alert, all the other incarnates got freed. You got the incarnate of Fire, Earth, and Frost. And then you got, so, you know, we're probably going to be combating all the different elements. Probably going to go to Firelands again at some point, for all we know. And then the invasion is very, like, Frost themed. And there's a whole mechanic of, like, you got to make sure to get your character warmed up. Otherwise, you freeze and you get stunned. And I think you're just kind of stuck there or whatever. I need to take a look at that at some point on PTR. But how you boys all doing? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a good one. Let's see if we get some groups up and running over for the Team NA. Boys, we're doing pretty good. Foxy, how you doing, fam? Jake, Tino, Dan, how y'all doing? Welcome back, welcome back. Let me get the music back up and running. Is that loud? OBS? Not too loud. We could work with this. Yo, let's see if we get some 5v5 1v1 groups up and running over on the Team NA. Boys, I'm excited. I am excited, man. Yesterday, we actually had quite a lot of games. We had Steel Gloosh walking in as a sub-rogue, dominating, absolutely dominating in the 5v5 1v1 duels. But I'm wondering if we'll see... What other class got buffed recently? Frost Mages. That's another one that I was going to say. Like, I wonder if that one will actually, like, become kind of sort of playable, kind of sort of workable. Because we had Diddy yesterday try to see if he could play it, or rather, Johan try to see if he could play his mage. I'm surprised he didn't play his shaman. I imagine, like, with all the class starts, with all the melee nerfs, shaman would probably have a lot more of like a viability to it. Now that you no longer get like blasted out in one shot by demon hunters, and potentially even assassin rogues. Subtlety is still so strong though; it is insane. Gesture is superior to Demon for one reason or alone. Had a dispel option. That is huge, actually. Being able to self-dispel yourself does help out quite a bit in PvE. As well as in PvP. I gotta swap to a different character. Hold on a second. Also, apparently the shoulders that I got, the elite shoulders, apparently they're supposed to have like an extra effect now that I've gotten my 2500 rating. Whenever you get elite, kill Razageth, or you get hero achievement, you're supposed to get like extra bonus effect with shoulders, but a lot of those don't work until 10:05. But if you were to hop on 10:05, all of them work. Everything works properly. Everything works just fine. You got like the actual lightning, but you're also gonna apply that lightning effect to like the red shoulders for PvP, but also like the heroic blue ones and like even the LFR ones. But it adds like basically mythic effect to all the appearances, which is an interesting way of going about it. That's an interesting little reward that it did, but I kind of like it, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's true, by the way. Yesterday was really, really good with Quasi popping off. I mean, he did a lot of work, man. He did a lot of damage to that thing. That thing was nutty. Yo, Dad, what's up, Barra? How you doing, man? It looks like Flex is trying to put a group together already. Beautiful. So, I don't know if there's a second one up and running, but I know my man Flex got a group. Raids Legacy, is that where I find it? Or would I find it in the Raid Shadowlands Legacy? Raid Shadowlands. So, we already got a 5-man, actually. Flex, or with 9 King Sword and Dark. Oh, you got everybody in there. Oh my goodness. All right. I gotta make one real quick. All right, 5v5 1v1 duels. I'm making second group. I don't know if anybody already has one. I'm making the second one. I see you, Flex, with chill pills. Are you gonna be? Wait, is Flex playing survival tonight, or is he going back on that Death Dead? Because Death Dead kind of was working last week, wasn't it? That was actually doing work. But if you guys want to join in, we got ourselves a second group right here. Let me get the copy pasta. The copy paste on how to go on it. Is this it? Here we go. Beautiful. I finished boss on 18 plus with 2 30k DPS. That's kind of nuts. Wait, tree boss. That seems like a lot of damage. What build do you run for that? Do you just like run all AoE build, or is there like some kind of like a funnel build that you would run? I imagine, does Jester have like a funnel build? I guess you could just like maybe just do a ton of like funnel, just if you can get a lot of resources and spawn a bunch of Infernos, which do end up doing damage to the boss. I guess that could be like a funnel. I remember like back in season 3 and 4, you would just spawn a bunch of Rain of Fire with a bunch of Infernos, and that would be your funnel. It's just like, you just do a lot of damage to everybody. So boss takes a lot of damage, ads take a lot of damage. It wasn't really like, oh, prioritize boss. It's just like everything is just melting in front of here. Now imagine that tier set would have been amazing, dude. Survival Hunter is another spec I feel like would be insane with that tier set too. Night King got a 5-man. See you are trying to join the other group. Let's go, boys. I gotcha, I getcha. Awesome. Dope. Trying to get a second group going. My man, see we're coming back in. Yo, let's go, boys. Yo, Archimage didn't get touched at all this week, did it? No, yes it did, actually. Siphon, didn't Siphon get touched a bit? So you can no longer get like a big intellect buff and then just blast somebody out of the game. I imagine that's like not super terrifying though. I mean, maybe it is, but maybe not. Let me see if I can get some more boys in here. Ampy, does he want to join in? Ash? Does Ash want to join by chance? Does Ash join these regularly? ASAP? Maybe? Larry? I could ask him actually, hold on. Hey ASAP. We currently hosting some 5V5 1v1 Duels this evening. Would you be interested in joining some? Beep the solo shuffle rating? Hold on. I like the Mog, by the way, with the helm. Oh, what the hell? That looks so good, actually. Is that the Primal Fire? Oh, you know, aren't they supposed to have 2100 enchants? And like a tabard and a cloak and all that? Do they not have those yet? At all? Solo shuffle. Yo, 2900, boy. 2900, dude. He's just chilling 2900 solo. Oh my god. Never mind. Forget about it. Yeah, whatever Nerds Blizzard has implemented to mages this week, yeah, I don't think it's holding you guys back at all. Not even once. Not even once. But yeah, if you guys want to join in, man, we got a group over in LFG. Trying to see if we can put one together. Night King already got the boys. We just did a couple more on team 2. 100 stuff isn't in game yet. When is it going to be though? Is it with 10:05? Nerfed by 50%, I think. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's stopping him at all. Maybe like you're still using it, but you're just not one-shotting. You're just having to like two-shot. It's like, oh, fine, I'll press an extra global. Or maybe it's one of those things where you're just like, all right, I just won't run that. I'll just run something stronger, more consistent. NA or EU, we are doing these over on the NA today. Today is NA day. Definitely NA day. What's up, Rick? I do a minute. It's about to do 130 30-minute one game. I mean, you mean like wait time or like 30 minutes in the game? I imagine you don't spend that much time in the game itself. Because I'm sure like with how Solo Shuffle is, even if you get the best of the best players, there's no coordination really. But imagine that it results fast games. Wait time. Bro, I don't know what it is, man. On NA, I've never had a long wait time. I can queue up at like 4 or 5 in the morning while I'm working on a video, and I have a 10-minute wait max. Usually less than that. But less. I guess so. Maybe it's like a regional thing. Maybe are you guys EU? Are you EU, Chris, or are you NA? Because I've heard a lot of boys on EU say, "Oh man, my wait time is like hours and hours, man. I can't find a game whatsoever. I'm just trying to get a game in 1200 or whatever." 5-minute queue time. Yeah, EU is definitely longer though. Is it just no participation, or is it just like a problem? You think? I'm EU. I wonder if it's like a technical problem on the EU side. Because NA, I've never really had that long of a queue time at all. But it could also be a participation. Maybe EU players are more focused on like 2s and 3s, but don't really care much about solos. While NA is just like, you know what? I love the convenience of queue up, but everybody has that mindset, so you always get games. I know early on for Seabark, he was having a hard time finding queues because he queued a couple of games of solo, got 2400, and he was like the only person there for a while, or there's barely anybody at that like bracket. So for him, it was like, man, now I gotta wait an hour queue. I did too well. My MMR is way too high. I can't play without players because nobody's up there yet. So it's like searching, trying to make sure you get players close to your MMR. They're not trying to pick like some Johnny off the block and 10k MMR, you know what I mean? Throw him in a 2500 game. We're gonna find the groups. Groups are gonna be LFG. So if you guys want to find the group is gonna be listed in Dungeon Raids, pre-made group, Legacy Raids, and type number 5, search at the top, and you should be able to see it. I have the pin in the chat I don't know where, but it's in the chat somewhere. Yeah, cool question. Is it better to have 2 daggers or 1 dagger, 1 sword for sub-rogue? Just re-rolled rogue. Are you talking about PvE, Zulus, or are you taking that into PvP? It depends. Check party chat. What happened? Hi, Andy. Really? Huh. Yeah, if that's true, man. Yeah, no wonder you can't really find them at new queues. If that's what people are doing at the high end, I feel like that defeats the whole point of solo queue, though, doesn't it? I mean, I get it, but like that, I feel like it kind of defeats the spirit of solo queue. Maybe I'm the wrong one on that. Maybe I have a wrong mindset on that. Chicago's on a vault right now. Oh, okay, I can invite him. Seawork is with me. Death Strider, does he want to join in? Does he have a main? It looks like he's leveling, so I'm not gonna like bother him. SP? Oh, SP's Nightborn Mage. SP, my bad. People are throwing 100 on you. Really? Wow. I guess that makes sense. Wait. Huh. That's crazy, man. Yeah, that's actually crazy. That's super, like, try hard. PvE, both on plus and PvP. Double dagger than Zulus. You definitely want double dagger. Unless, like, your main dagger is, like, super high item level, but your other dagger is, like, super low item level, like a green, then maybe a heavier weapon will go good in the offhand. But yeah, man. Malachi, I'll get him in a second. Sure, man. You would set on super high bar lobby, so you like 3-3, you can still get 50 points. Really? Wait, can't you just cheese it then? Hold on, Seaver, can't you just cheese it then? Wait, you could just kind of like, can you just win trade like that? Hold on a second. You can just win trade to make sure everybody gets a 3-3, and then everybody gets score. Wait, that totally defeats it. Wait, okay, so I just put the 2 and 2 together. Call me dumb, but that totally defeats it. That totally defeats the whole point of solo queue. Yo, okay, wow, it just hit me. That's BS. That's dumb. Actually, so dumb. Is so long, dude. That is so dumb. That's crazy. I want to do more time to level her. Whatever you want to do, Malachi. Futsal me? I want to see Futsal will join. Hey, fool is me. We currently hosting some 5V5 1v1 duels this evening. Would you be interested in joining some? Let me see. I gotta start asking people around, man. See if I can get in here, because we gotta get the groups up and running. Ken, Malachi, who else is on reality? Stormy? Stormy sounds good. Nando, does Nando want to join him? Rizzazz, he's a EU though. Does Nando want to join him by chance? Okay. We got Chim. So we're getting people together, apparently. That works for me. You guys are more welcome to join in, by the way. Anybody and everybody's welcome. Let me see if I can get Nando. Hey, Nando. We currently hosting some 5V5 1v1 duels this evening. Would you be interested in joining some? What's up, Tattoo, my man? Hope you have a good one. How are you? What do you think of people bringing more reds to higher keys? It's not the best, but it can compete. The reds can definitely do well, man. I feel like that's one of those things where the Regencies, I feel like a little bit more of a buff, and that'll be in that perfect spot. They definitely can do a lot of damage. They're very, very useful in the current dungeons. I feel like if you were to bring in more Legion dungeons with demons that can be stunned up, a Red Pally is going to be insanely good there. Like, according to stars, those little impy packs, a Red can just wake up Ashes them every single time. Hell, every 30 seconds, hell, maybe even shorter than that. It is actually so good. Their damage is really good when they pop wings. Their consistent damage needs to be a little bit higher, I think. But if they can do that, that'll be awesome. I think they'll be in a fantastic spot if they did that. We need 2 more boys. 2 more, and we can get ourselves a 5V5 1v1 group in here. Reverence, do you want to join by chance? By any measure? Can't sorry about it, right? All good, my friend. All good, all good. All good, friend. All good. Let me see if Rev wants to join in. Hey, Rev. Let's see what Rev wants to do. Maybe Rev wants to join in. That'd be fantastic. Dally, we got Dally. We need to run a master twice. We need 1 more. And we got ourselves a 5-man team. Traverse versus my man, Chill Pills. Leveling? Okay, friend. Hit me with a no. Leveling. No. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. So Val's in the other team. Does Snake want to join in? Wait. Oh, okay. Wait, he's leveling. Okay. He's got time until season 6 of Tuesday. Sounds good, my guy. Whatever you want to do. War? Well, what about Warthorus? Who is War again? I'm trying to remember. Zaxer? 5V5 duels. Look at that, Zax. Maybe he wants in. Maybe a bit just like right now. I'll give him, my guy. Let me see if Zax may want to join in because he's hanging out. Hey Zax. We currently hosting some 5V5 1v1 duels this evening. Would you? I can't spell. This evening, would you be interested in joining some? I'm asking everybody and anybody on my real ID, man, trying to get some boys in here. Tepo? Oh, he's EU. Teleport? Also EU. Man, some of you guys are EU, some of you guys are NA. But it's like so hard to tell. It's like the difference. Look, this is dimmed out, so I can tell it's different region. But this isn't as dim. Like this is dimmed, this isn't as dim. So it makes you think, oh, like look at the difference between these two. Like when I look at them, just like first glance, I feel like these two are about the same. Like in terms of like dimness, in terms of like is it the same region or not? And I kept sometimes like asking people that are in the opposite region, like you want to join? And they're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm like, wait, hold on, my bad. I can't imagine. It makes me feel so bad, bro. Makes me feel so bad when I do that because I don't do it on purpose, man. I just make a mistake. That's all I do. Beastly, let's go! Oh my god, this is your boy Beastly in here. Hey, yo! I have you added somewhere. How did I miss ya? Alrighty, I will make CyberPowerPC lead here if you guys don't mind, yeah? Let me delist this. I don't know how many games are going to be in here for CyberPowerPC, but afterwards, if you ever got a dip CyberPowerPC, Beastly, I have him out of real ID. You could do that. You could do him, but I'll make you lead for now. We got us as a group, boys! First 5V5 1 of the day! Spectator match, Night King, and CyberPowerPC. CyberPowerPC, they got a couple of, they got a Death Knights, so just be aware. I'm just letting you know right now. I know like that's one class that's like a kind of a counter for mage, kind of a counter, especially if they play like super anti-magic, anti-fun build, but just letting you know ahead of time. They got Death Knights. Oh my god. Oh no. I gotta fix that real quick. Here we go. Beautiful. Next track, what is it? Here we go. I can link you. That's not the track we normally listen to, but there it is, man. Just like caring if I lose, no point, heat in the moment. Exactly. I feel like as long as you're having fun, that's the most important part. Go in there, give it your best shot. As long as you're having fun, that's literally all that matters for these duels, man. That's how I view it. Win or lose, you gotta win some, you gotta lose some. You can't win all of them ever. You know? It just won't happen. So as long as you guys prioritize, you know what? Let's just have some fun out here. Let's just do some cheesy stuff. Let me try some wacky builds out here. You know what I mean? We got a lot of mages on the group team too. We're missing on someone in team 1, but I think we should hopefully be able to get them in here. Like maybe they're loading after a while. Switch. We got ourselves team 1. Actually, I think I'll wait for the UI to fade. We got us team 1 chill pills. Charge it out. Is it him or Diabolical first? Because looks like Diabolics has already set himself up a gateway and everything. We got this Reflex on that team. Double death, and we got chill pills and Reflex. Also, wait, one is Unholy, one is Frost. I was gonna say maybe both are Frost. One following the other in the other's footsteps. Var over the team as well. And we're gonna be first up over for the team 2. Trying to go for a bit of invis, hoping to get himself a good opener onto Diabolics. Having a pet out as a Demonology Warlock is going to give him such a massive advantage. Does get himself frozen. That's actually going to be main pet CC'd. Not much he can really do. Main pet's frozen. Wait, his main Demon Doggers also got frozen on the approach over CyberPowerPC. Trying to go for a fear. Going to be a quick interrupt to CyberPowerPC. Trying to see if he can counter as much control from Diabolics with damage of his own. Trying to go for as much damage as possible. While line deciding the pets, he's trying to continue the damage rolling in. While line deciding the main pets of Diabolics. Making sure that the Axe Toss can connect with him as easily. So he's trying to play both. He's trying to play against the pet, trying to keep it away, but also trying to play against Diabolics, trying to make sure he doesn't get a proper kick on him or anything. Big barrages. Actually, Diabolics is on an execute, which could be really bad for him. He has some barrage, but he does go for a big heal. Soulburn to escape that execute range. And it's going to be a Mortal Coil as well, going for a full health recovery. CyberPowerPC does go for a quick interrupt onto Diabolics. I believe it was maybe on like a Shadow spell or a Hand to Go Down spell. If he's locked out on Shadow Bolt, he can cast shadow spells, but all the demonic summoning spells should still have access to those. If it's on the hand to go down, that's Shadow Flame locked out. That's basically like a Chaos Bolt lockout, more or less. Gonna be an attempt for a Kyrian big go with a Radiant Spark for CyberPowerPC, but looks like maybe he's just gonna delay it for a moment. Does get quite a bit of damage towards Diabolics. The way though, access to lock down the mage for a moment, does have himself the all the time, and using those blinks in order to get himself in a better position. Gonna be a port for Diabolics. He's gonna literally get to peer into his head. I swear I saw some eyeballs there for just a moment. Is it going to be CyberPowerPC trying to go for a bit of a reset? Goes behind the pillar as a Mortal Coil does connect. Got himself shifted power. Maybe could get himself a lot of cooldowns. Diabolics is getting prepared for whatever comes next. Because that's going to be likely a pretty big burst combo for CyberPowerPC. Sending up a Ring of Frost on one side. Doesn't quite catch the Penitent. We're trying to see if he can walk the Penitent, which is perfect for him. Get some damage to Diabolics. He's just going to walk into it. Main Demon Doggers doing it frozen as they pass to the Ring of Frost, which is super unfortunate. Big damage. Barrages back to back. Oh my god. See, Mark, what was that? A touch of the Magi? Is that what that was? It looked like he was just literally crushing that touch of the Magi off of that barrage. There was so much damage at the very end, but the mage does have mad executes, big bursts, great mobility on top of it. And if you can manage all of these things at once, all together, all at the same time, I feel like Arcane could technically be unstoppable. There are some classes out there that are a hard counter for Arcane Mage, but it is in such a good spot right now. Hell, even your Ice Nova does quite a bit of damage. As it cracks through the Hellbar of Val, it's going to be a hard to follow. I think CyberPowerPC has it all the time ahead of time. Sometimes when you see like that little clock thing above their heads, that doesn't always mean that that's all the time. Sometimes it just means it's another buff entirely. I believe it's a buff that either gives them full arcane power or gives them some kind of like a damage proc, like Bloodlust maybe? Potentially, it's so hard to tell sometimes. Big setup onto Val, maybe in trouble. I think could still be dead. Got himself the Shield of Vengeance. Is it going to be enough though? Could be a massive barrage. Trying to see if he can... Oh! Touch of the Magi follows through. I feel like maybe Var was focusing on those barrages, trying to make sure he bubbles a barrage, but Touch of the Magic collects a portion of the damage. Even if you haven't absorbed like a Shield of Vengeance on you, it will still calculate all that. You got absorbed, but it still counts it. Okay, big barrage from here, big barrage there, all got absorbed, but Touch of the Magic doesn't really care afterwards. It just looks at the numbers, not what got absorbed, but what was dealt by CyberPowerPC, and just collapses it all into you at once. As Chopa's gonna be up next. That would be one of the classes that's a bit of a hard counter for Arcane. We'll see if CyberPowerPC can maybe bypass him. Try to go for Blast back to back. No more. Oh, what was that? Oh my goodness. You blink and you miss it. That's what Arcane mages do. You blink and you miss it. CyberPowerPC though don't miss. This man don't miss. Oh my god. What was that? Oh, I honestly was not prepared mentally or emotionally for that one. That was something. Gonna be a big barrage on the CyberPowerPC as Riplex gonna try to see if he can have himself a go versus this mage. My goodness, as soon as you don't have AMS, it's oh my god, it's over, it feels like. But CyberPowerPC doesn't have blasted him out. He does have to see if he can survive past the Unholy Death. That is going to be able to root out the pets. That is an advantage of a mage, though. He can put some control onto all these pets. Nova, Ice Nova, Breath, potential, and knockback into these pets. He can try to see if he can deny some of the damage for Flex. But as soon as that Valkyrie is going to be on him, as soon as the main pet is going to be on, yeah, does have all the time to reset, so he wasn't feeling pressured at all whatsoever. He was fine taking a bit of damage, but definitely needs to maintain that shield as much as possible. As that Valkyrie, you're just going to keep raining down Shadow Bolts at you. Big breath from Poly onto Reflex. The pet can still go for a proper stun here. Does not have a way to interrupt him, but it's going to be a mad damage. Rip does drop down a dome in order to help reduce a lot of the damage he's taken. Radiant Spark out for CyberPowerPC. Try to see if he can set up a big go here. AMS up for Reflex. He can potentially rip through the AMS. It's going to get stunned up. No way out of it. Touch the Magic still could do a lot of damage potentially. And Reflex is just going to not take as much damage as I thought he would. You see where himself an Ice Nova to keep the Death Knight at a distance. Try to keep him in arm's reach. As CyberPowerPC can start to take a little bit of damage from the Army of the Dead. Has himself Ring of Frost to potentially lock him all down. Is going to focus down on the main pet. Try to keep away from Reflex. Maybe take it down the goal little by little. Shift of Power is given an opportunity to recover with some of those coolness. Maybe he can get defensives as well as things like Alter Time, Blink, Interrupt. All those things back a little bit faster. And maybe the main pet. It looks like CyberPowerPC was chipping away at it for a while, but I wonder what health threshold is it at the moment. CyberPowerPC trying to make sure he doesn't get interrupted. And try to see if he can juke out a kick. Does get a juke out a kick. Perfect opportunity to go Radiant Spark. Potentially massive damage. Does he have a big go? Reflex got himself extra bolster of health. But it's going to be an Ice Block for CyberPowerPC. Decided, you know what? I feel like this is where I just go for a defensive. Big A-bomb spawning in. CyberPowerPC try to see if he can potentially just escape it really quickly. Could have sat in that Ice Block for a little bit longer. But I think maybe not even running the Ice Block that gives you a heal. So that's potentially what he is going with here. He potentially just cannot really heal at the moment. So next stun by Rip, if he doesn't have a blink for it, could be quite deadly. Gonna be an invis by Seaver, trying to make sure he doesn't get CC. That's gonna be a trinket off of the blind, but Dragonflight does have him locked in. The Army of the Dead joining in, got himself a Brand, and he needs to find a way to escape the Army of the Dead, but I think it just may be over for this Arcane Mage, surrounded by these ghouls. Try to see if he can escape Rip. That's gonna be Nova onto all these pets. Rip unable to grip him back in the open. That's gonna be shit power available for Seaver to get himself a bit of health back, but that Death Goal is gonna take him out. There's just not much you can really do. That's one of those things where normally I think arcane mages and mages in general probably don't play Icebug that heals you, especially in the field you're doing like 2s, 3s solo queue, because you're just using it for defensive. Most classes are just going to be there to remove it anyway. So I guess you would save a talent point there or two, but in duels he does end up helping you out. Chim is going to be up next, also another arcane mage, as Rip tried to see if he could rip right through him. Tried to go for a big grip, but it looks like wasn't able to connect. Second grip right after. That might have been a grip from the grippy hand that time. Onto Chim as he's actually surrounded by the Army of the Dead. Wait, big damage rolling in for Rip. Does end up going for a big breath in order to take the pets off of it for just a moment. But big death goes and the main pet might actually just have a mighty ice block. Oh! It looks like he does go down. Rip actually trying to see if he can break it back for his team little by little. Stormlux is going to be up next to the Shadow Place. Big PCIe, they're ready. Rip does end up surrounding himself with an AMS in order to give himself a little bit of protection from magic. Mind games to follow. Can't really do much. Going to be a blind onto Storm as he tried to see if he can go for even more damage. Silence onto Rip. Kind of limited on what he can really do. Can't even heal himself for the time being. Definitely needs a heal as soon as possible though. AMS coming up, not for a while now. But Deathback maybe could be his last savior. Maybe his last bastion of support. Does end up going for a Deathback, but can't really heal right now. He does have all those necrotics, so he just needs to maximize as much damage as he can. Full army of the undead and surrounding Stormlugs though. I don't know if they have Shackle Undead, but try to see if you can heal through it. But the army, I think, may just be the end of you. Wait, potential reflexes take you out. Maybe Storm does get himself Power Word life to help him stay alive, but it's going to be a couple of seconds in between of uses of that ability. Does get full down to the rib. He is melting out, bleeding out profusely, but still so far hanging in there. Wants to keep fighting until the very bitter end. Does get a Death Strike off of Beastly, and I think Beastly may just give him an opportunity to recover a bunch of health. Potentially. Partially. I feel like Dragonflight realizes, you know what, there's only so much healing I can do. We should just duel. At this point, let's just duel. At this point, I'll just press AMS. We'll just fight against each other. Whatever happens, happens. Does go for a trinket, but I think Beastly is just not in a situation where he could lose. Rip at no help whatsoever. He played really, really well, admirably, going from one caster to the next to the next. You know, bringing it back for his team as a team of 4. But there's only so much you can do, I guess, at Demonology at the end there. Let's get ourselves another go, boys. Seaver did really good, but yo, Flex also was making a pretty big comeback, was he not? That is absolutely incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. Okay, let me know if your teams are ready, because I want to get another one going. Hopefully, Night King does have his 5th ready to go. Worst to worst, maybe you guys can get Kevin in here? Does Kevin whisper me back? If I find those, yo, if you guys need one more, I can connect Kevin and Night King here if you guys need one. Let me know. Let me know if you guys need more boys. Yo, this was so fun, by the way. 5, let's go, let's go. As soon as need one more, I can invite a guy. I can get a guy. Invite me. Hold on, let me do it like this. In me. I can suggest Kevin Landers in your group. I can suggest him. Here we go. Kevin, suggest invite. Make this a raid. Or pass lead. Smiley face. I can do this. We can definitely do this. Here we go. Kevin, get him invited. All right, hold on. NDF, NA. What did I say with this at? 70, 80? Oh. Yo, NA is actually so close to getting the EU in terms of catching up to EU in terms of like the amount of games saved or whatever. Alrighty. I'll pass it on back to Chupos. We did list. Pass. We're good. Okay. Let me know when R. Cool. Sorry about that. I had a message in the DMs there for a second. Had to respond back to him. I said your bear looks cool, man. Your beard? Your bear looks cool. My bear or beard? Hold on. Let me look up. Let me scroll up. Wait. It's new? Your beard is cool. Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, I guess you went to a barber and he helped me get it all squared away a little bit. I told him let's give it a good old shape, man. Let's give it a shaping. And he was like, all right. So we're basically not really trying to let it like grow short or reduce the length. I'm more just trying to, me and him are working on it to just make sure it's like shape, but it just continues to grow. That's what I'm trying to go for. I'm just trying to see if like I can just let it grow for a while, man. I'm trying to grow it out if I can, but I don't want it to be super unruly. So we're just kind of adjusting it. Mostly go on just for a cut and we just shape it a little bit. Just let it go. Let it keep doing its thing. It does get super long down here. Usually it gets like really scraggly. So cut that down here, clean it up, all that good stuff. You make me look good, man. Barber does a good job. Finding yourself good barber boys, especially when you like get into like that you know, young adult, full adult. Get yourself a barber, man. Find a place that treats you right, dude. Alrighty. What arena want to do? No cooldown, right? Did it work? No cooldown. KH. Okay. Yeah. How long will you do this for the day? I'm gonna keep going while we got groups map. If you guys want to go for the next like 3 hours, I'm down to go for the next 3 hours, man. 4 hours? I don't know about that. I do gotta get some food at some point. But 2 hours, 3 hours, all that good stuff will work with me. Honestly. Alright. Please, Yala, can you write track's name? I can give you the whole mix, man. Let me do that. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. But 3 hours, it means 8, you said it. If we have groups, I can do for at least 3 hours. If we have groups. If for some reason groups start happening, yeah. Alrighty, we got ourselves another one going, boys. Yeah, I think I saved that one. I think I did. Hopefully. Cool. Alrighty, man, I got a bunch of DMs going on at the same time. So Twitch, we got ourselves Showdowns over for the team 1, but we got also Kevin Landers joining that team as well. Diabolics out the Demonology. We got ourselves Reflex, and we got ourselves Var. Full team of Warriors, full team of Fighters 1. I mean, kind of controls Fighters too. But it's gonna be Rip. First up is an Unholy Death Knight versus Beastly. Opening up another portal immediately. Rip knows exactly how this game is gonna go. He wants to avoid Beastly as best as he can. He's gonna summon up a Tyrant. The Tyrant is going to enhance whatever pets he's got. Going to be a big old blind, but it's going to be, I think, maybe like a weaker version of a Pit Lord. Potentially. Can't really attack him at all, can he? Maybe the pets are swinging around the corner. Pit Lord actually does get big slaps in it. Look at that thing. My god, Pit Lord is a terrifying demon, dude. You just got like, what, 2 swings at flags? And the Mancel was taking pretty big hits. For a pet with auto attacks, that's quite a lot. As Beastly getting surrounded by the army of the Scourge itself as Reflex summons some pets of his own. Big A-bomb Valkyrie does get a pretty good angle into Beastly. That's a lot of damage going down. Stunned by the main pet. Could be Warlock going down. Does definitely have to rotate every defensive and even through the defenses. Rip is able to just rip right through his soul. With gonna be Stormlux up next. And Shadowpriest not having to play too big dampening. So this time maybe the Shadowpriest will have a hopefully an easier time fighting versus Rip. It's gonna hit him with the Mind Games big Void Eruption. Rip does get himself a big defensive, trying to go for as much self-heal as possible. AMS, Dark Pact, Death Pact rather, everything got used in order to give himself a bit more survivability as Stormlux Got him in a pretty good spot, honestly. Has a lot of pressure versus this guy with a big old Flay Sanity to try to see if they can chip away his health while he's got himself those necrotics. For Ripflex, it's going to take a second for him to start recovering in terms of health. Trying to see if he can avoid any kind of shadow crashes from a distance from Storm. This is going to be a main pen empowered army of the ghouls spawning in. Fear quickly onto Ripflex, and Storm trying to see if he can potentially find a way to fight through it. Does get himself a little bit of healing. Big DPs are going to do a little bit of damage, a bit of health. Does get a juke out a kick for Flex, and is going to be able to punish him with a bit of a precognition. Stun onto Flex with the mind games to follow. The pet should be able to heal him a little bit. That's going to be Flex getting silenced up, so you can't even interrupt Flux for a little bit. But Lux is still not in a fantastic spot, not in a great position. If they have Power Word live, that could potentially help him recover quite a bit. Definitely need to start using those as soon as you get low. And that's going to be a disperse as soon as they see the army of the dead. The A-bomb joined in. The Major Skulkin around the corner is shuffling over there. Rip is not out of the woods just yet. He does have a mind burner that he can at least get a couple of leeching strikes from, a couple of those death strikes from, but he's not really out of the woods at any moment. As Lux trying to avoid the entire pet army, not playing into that shackle undead, but I guess you don't really want to sacrifice a whole talent point just for that either, do you? BT down onto Flex as they do get a full army of the ghouls stunned onto Ripflex, but he does get those random procs of shielding against magic damage that does help him out quite a bit. While he can silence Flux himself, he does have the pet to do it. That's going to be a kick. Stormlux could potentially go for mind games, trying to see if he can heal himself. Oh my goodness. That mind games would have probably saved it too, because I don't think Flex has a sum for it or anything. With Dewey going to be up next, try to see if he can rip those bleeds into Flex. As Flex trying to see if he can fight through the feral random rogue getting gripped up out in the open. Flex actually trying to equalize the hell between him and Dewey. Dewey trying to get counter aggressive with an incarnation is going to be able to trinket out of that blind. Whatever magic damage, moonfight damage you do, Flex will be able to avoid it, but those bleeds are going to rip into his health bar. I think the main pet also got shredded. No, because it's kind of walked over there, I think, to fight Dahlia for a second. What are you doing out here, Goofer? As Ripflex does end up recovering a lot of his health, the necrotics are falling off. Dewey does end up diving into a restealth, but does he have diseases on him? Looks like he does have a bit of that blood boil disease still on him. Whatever kind of disease it is. I think it's the vampiric, no. It's whatever the blood decay disease is. I honestly, I know there's a virulent plague. Then there was I forget what it is, blood decay. I'm trying to remember them. I know there's virulent plague. Then there's frost fever. But then the other one, it just escapes me. Gonna be Flex, getting stunned up. But do it no hell whatsoever. Overpowered by the army of the undead. Diseases as well as ghouls. Slash and claw and action. There's only so much you can do. Rip trying to see if he can potentially recover a little bit of health. But against Dally, who got to make some bleeds and make some poisons. Not much you can really do about it. Did start cracking through rogue defenses though. Rogue didn't. Now you're cloaking? That's like a weirdest time to cloak, I imagine. Gonna be Kevin leaping in, gonna be a cheap shot out of the rogue immediately. Human racial for Kevin, breaking himself out of that stun immediately. Dally does try to go in for maybe reset, but no vanish available anymore. Fear by Kevin. Tries to go for a bit of a charge towards Dally. Dally needs to use defenses. He got himself big damage rolling in for Kevin. Lots of bleeds. The man may need to pop an evasion or something. Does pop evasion very, very late, though. Is gonna be using a Warlock also to narrowly recover as the spear was about to take down on him. And maybe he has Kevin in his sights. Kevin does try to go for a bit of recovery. Dally needs to find him maybe some kind of way to disarm him, potentially Stormbolt out of Kevin. Does try to go for big recovery, but I think Battle Master Stricken just fell off, not given a good position to recover, and the rogue, I think, just had him. But then went for a shadow step maybe a little too early. And it's going to end up kind of getting Kevin broken out of that CC, out of that blind. Would have been the perfect opportunity for him to escape it, but couldn't do it. Kevin next versus Seamark. Is Seamark going to give Kevin an opportunity to recover? Because the man maybe has second wind. He literally has second wind. I think Seamark is trying to give him as much of an auto as possible. Literally pulling him just to give him all the rehealing. Seamark wants to fight these boys honorably. He wants to be able to win over them through skill alone. He doesn't want to be able just to walk in, slam somebody super low, and then just gotta call it a day. Giving Kevin as much of an opportunity. Kevin giving a bit of a bow as he's getting chipped away at. And he at least didn't want to give Seamark a proper bow to show appreciation. Even though he's getting chipped, his other is taking a bit of a beating. Does try to go for a kick on Seamark. It is going to be juked out. Mad damage reverse back onto Seamark. I think Kevin does get him some pretty big bursts. It's going to be a massive, massive carry setup for Seamark. Does he have some big barrage? Oh my god. That Radiant Spark, if you need to give yourself a little bit of a setup with Radiant, the extra bonus damage that it applies, that it allows for, it is so deadly. And Seamark is at least giving himself given an opportunity to go for a proper invis, go for a proper reset. Diabolic trying to see if he can search for him. does have a gateway set up, so he kind of wants to mostly play back where his gateway position is. Or at least kind of play near it. Is going to be able to notice where Seaverk is going to go for another re-invis. And Seaverk tried to reposition. For Seaverk, I think him honestly maybe a better position, better spot to somehow lure Diabolics away from his gate, away from his portals. But I don't really know if he could do it successfully. Try to go around Ring of Frost on some of those pets of Diabolics. The main pet almost getting knocked back into the Ring of Frost, and Seaverk is going to have to go back into that line of sight play, line of sight in the main pet to try to make sure that Axtos does not get to lock him down. Actually, as you saw it right there, Diabolics dropped down the Obelisk, which empowers your pets, and Seaverk went to eliminate it. That is something a lot more people should be doing. That Obelisk empowers the pets by quite a bit. 20% faster attack speed. I think it's 20%, if not 15. And then faster cast speed. I mean, it is a lot of free damage. A lot of this pet's damage comes from just autos. So being able to remove that Obelisk is huge. Gonna be Seaverk break it out of that stun fairly quickly. Knock back at all the pets. Mad damage to Diabolics. Diabolics got himself a pretty big defensive. Is it gonna be enough though? Seaverk is gonna keep messing with him with those missiles back to back, just collapsing on him. Tricking out of Seaverk off of the Mortal Coil. Trying to see if he can get himself a bit of recovery. Axos is going to get him yet another interrupt. Does have an interrupt of his own versus Diabolicals either way though. But it's going to try to see if he can continue the angle, continue the pressure. God, Diabolics on the run right now. Big missiles. Is barrage going to be enough though? He just needs the barrage real quickly. One more barrage. Diabolics does end up getting him better health, but it's not enough. He's still in that execute range. Maybe he could narrowly escape if we could just wait long enough. The shields are building up a little bit. That is going to give him a little bit of healing. But he's still so close in that health, man. Blood Plague? That's the one, Jake. Appreciate you. Blood Plague is the plague. The blood DKs used. Completely forgot about it. Missiles around the corner. Diabolicals again. Wall may be able to help you a little bit here. It's gonna really dampen a lot of that execute damage. Seaver does have ultra time already, so it should be okay. Touch of the Magic is not really gonna get much value. What's Diabolicals still able to chase the Warlock, able to continue barraging him. Is that barrage gonna be enough though? Quick interrupt to follow. Barrage one more. Oh, missiles and barrage. I don't even think even barrage connected. I think it was just missiles at the end chipping away at him. And Seaver going to be up next with Chopos. May have to go for an Ice Block here. That's going to be all cooldowns out of Chopos. And Seaver does not play that Ice Block with a heal. That's the thing that's going to hold him back. Not being able to play an Ice Block with a heal is going to give Seaver very limited survivability options here. He's basically playing with a set amount of health bar, unless he can go for a proper reset. Maybe get a polymer of 1 chill pills and then go for a proper food intake. Just sit down, eat a little bit. Maybe then he can get some healing, but it's gonna be rough. No more AMS for Chilpos. Not really sure what he AMS earlier. Let's see if I can try to see if we can pressure him. Gonna be a massive miss for a moment. Try to see if he can get himself a better position versus Shield. Maybe he can go for big damage. Blind on Deceiver does have all the time pre-rolling ready to go in case Chilpos wants to get counter aggressive. Big obliterate. Deceiver, I think, was able to get a little bit of health back for it. Maybe. He is looking to get himself cooldown reduction with that full shift in power. Chills needs to be extra careful with that AMS as well as with a dome for AMZ. Needs to be extra careful with both of those. If you can use them correctly to counter the damage of Seavark while continuing to put pressure into the guy, maybe he can do it. Seavark looks like he's recovered a little bit of health. Trinket out of that stun to follow. Breath out of Chills. Does not have a proper trinket to break out of the polys. So Seavark could potentially have himself a big go here. Radiant Spark probably going to proc out an AMS from him. Likely at least. Going to get a bunch of blasts in there. Chilpos actually taking the touch of the magic behind the pillars. Summoning go just to sacrifice it immediately. And Seavark, big barrage onto that one either way though. I think that Radiant Spark did end up collecting barrage damage. Did end up wrapping it up quite a bit. Double Arcane Orb, Chilpos doesn't take too much damage from it, but for Seavark, that's a lot of resources built up. Silence onto the mage for just a second. Let's save an out. I think try to go maybe for Shadow Mode. Big damage on the Seavark. Has himself all the time in case he was really in a bad spot. Could potentially recover a lot of health from it. Does recover from a couple of obliterates. Chilpos got himself full damage of the radiant, but the one thing is over the Zeth Knight, he doesn't have a proper way to get out of the CC from Seavark. Seavark has no stuns, and the only thing he can break out of is a stun racial or stun effects using the human racial. But polys, breath, all those things, there's nothing you can do about it. Grippy hand onto Seavark, breath by the mage with an Arcane Surge Raptor, does go for a Shimmer Blink away. That's gonna be big barrages towards Shield Pills, big missiles to follow. Got us a little more damage, big touch of the magic is gonna be on him, does go for a Death Pact. But I don't know if that's gonna help you too much. More missiles around the corner. And that Death Pact is going to help you a little bit. That Spell Warden helping out a little bit. Massive barrages, and Seavark does end up taking him out. Big Arcane Blast into barrages. There's not much you can really do about it. Val, try to see if he can close the gap with Seavark. Definitely needs himself Hand of Freedom and just run at Seavark. But that Hand of Freedom, while the mage is nowhere nearby, that's definitely going to hurt him. Gonna have to walk through Ring of Frost or potentially Bubble. Seawork trying to see if he can just establish control over Var, but doesn't really want to sit next to him. Gonna be tricked by the Paladin. I feel like he's just maybe trying to go for a great positional play versus Seawork. Just trying to stay next to him. Bubble, wings, everything. The mage recovering a lot of health, a lot of cooldowns back as well with that shift in power. Ice block almost ready. As long as he has an out versus those stuns, he may be okay all the time. Maybe he lives it, potentially survives it. That's all you can really do. Trick coming back in the last second. Does he have any more defenses at all? No, ice block for a while, but I think Val, he can't throw Judge beside him, but I don't know if that will be enough to get Seawork low here. He has him in that execute range, very, very close too. Very, very close, but not quite there yet. It's Var looking for a bit of a flash shield recovery. Ring of Frost around the corner, but Seawork doesn't quite connect. It's going to be a massive miss for Seawork. Probably going to just walk over the Ring of Frost. Kind of give it Valor even less of an opportunity to really catch up. That's going to be full freeze. Does go for lay on hands at this high-dampening, but I think Seawork has him in there. He wants him. And I think the mage ends up taking him out here. There's no way. Oh my god. That Arcane Mage, man. How do you stop an Arcane Mage? I think I have to be an Arcane Mage or so, don't ya? And Seawork does bring it back for his team. Not even playing that Healy Ice Block too, so he's having to play it super carefully. Every time he loses health, he needs to find a way to reduce the health loss or find a way to somehow recover it. I don't think he's ever got to sit down to eat food, and he wasn't able to just hang out on Ice Block and recover all of it either. The man is playing so risky, but he's making it work well too. My goodness. Yo, let me know when you guys are ready. By the way, Team 1 played really well too. Really well. Flex, honestly, just kind of leading the charge for his team as well. Doing such a good job holding the fort for his team, man. Just holding his own against, like, no matter who he goes up against. Definitely can do well against these casters. Wonder when the next one is going to be highlighted of. Exactly. Yeah. Unforge. Not to you guys. To a DM. Well, I'm doing the stream, but I got DMs. That's right, man. For Var, you just can't do anything. Not even fair. Yeah, I guess the Red Pallys have always had a hard time with the mages, though. I think that's pretty normal, right? I feel like it's been just the case for the last few expansions too. Red Pally fell for him. Yeah, I feel for you. Buff Red again, please. I don't even know if you buff your damage, right? I don't know if you would win that even if they were to buff you guys' damage. They would need to probably think about the mobility or something. You know, or survivability, you know, but also that was a high dampener game. Like, even if they gave him more healing, like, maybe you live a little longer, but like, they're redoing Paladins and they're working to change them up. They did say they're going to be redoing Retribution Paladin a little bit. They want to do more with it. They did buff them like recently with their sustained damage, but they said that in the future update, we definitely want to do something more for Red. We're definitely looking at them closely and we're planning stuff. Needs one. Seawork needs a +1. Do we have any more boys that want to join in by chance? Because my man Seawork is looking for one more. How do we get Seawork in here? He's got a group listed in Raids Legacy. So if you guys want to open up Raids Legacy, type number 5. You got Seawork, Malachi, Baldwin. We got the boys in here. If you guys want to join in on Team NA, we're doing these on NA today. You guys are more than welcome to join in. You can join in right now if you got a spot. I'm at DK tree. I don't have short AMS or MZ. I think probably DK beats Arcane with those. You think so? Maybe. Yeah, it's one of those things like when you're doing the 5V5 1v1 duel, it's like you gotta choose like, okay, well, which challenge do I want? It all depends what kind of classes they are, right? If there's a lot of melee, you probably want a lot of more melee countering challenge. If you got a lot of range, you probably want some range countering challenge. Or best yet, just pick your hardest matchup and build your challenge against that matchup. But that could also end up hurting you as well, because like say you build anti-caster and you only got melee. You know, it's one of those interesting things where it's like you got to figure out how to construct a talent tree for 5V5 1v1 duels. But I also think it's kind of an interesting thing too. It just sometimes you'll get I think in the end of the day I like it. There are moments where you get unlucky and there are moments where you get really lucky with your build. But man, it's interesting the thought process that goes into the complexity, and I like that. It's like a little bit of complexity. Let's see, who else can I invite here? Does Ash want to join in? Ash is on court, so I'm not gonna harass him about it. Ark, LK, I can get him in here maybe. Is he wanting in? I don't know. Ben doesn't deep cancel like that, but it is actually, I don't know if he does PvP much, but maybe Death Strider is leveling. I don't want to bother him. Dragonblade also leveling, it looks like. As Fizzle. Gabriel? Maybe? Looks like he's still leveling. Garber. Is Garber in the game? Or is Garber wants to play? Garber Val Draken. Garo? Oh, we got a 5. Okay, that's fine. I'll ask Garo next time. I'll ask Gar next time if we need to. Oh, you guys lost one. Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me ask Gar. Let me see if Gar wants to join in. Swear to God, if I see Garber queue up for random arena while I'm asking him. Hey, Gar. Currently hosting some 5V5 1v1 duels this evening. Would you be interested in joining some? Let me see what he says. Also, where's Ori? I miss Ori. Are you guys gonna fight? Right as I ask him, man. Right as I ask him, hey, Gar, you want to join in? 5. Oh, okay. We'll just go up. I'll get back to Gar at some point. Let's do Black Hold. I like that arena. Or do we do Blade's Edge? Blade's Edge. Let's do Blades. Let's do Blades. I like Blades. I don't know what it is. I know it's like really good for Warlocks and Monks and a handful of other classes. Like casters, I think generally like Blade's Edge because of the elevation, especially if you got a knockback. But yeah, Daddy said at home to get on boys and girls. Yeah, Mav, get in here, my guy. Get in here. Couldn't kill Arcane Mage. It's a tough one, man. Does Honor Gear match the Conquest Gear item level in arenas, you know? So item level for Honor Gear is 411. Item level for Conquest Gear is 424. So there is a difference, right? Conquest Gear is better than Honor Gear, but the gap is a lot smaller than it was in the previous expansion of Shadowlands. And I think even previous expansions before that, where the gear gaps was like weird. Definitely better than SL. The gear gap is there, but it is a lot smaller. You got one set of Honor Gear, one set of Conquest Gear. There's no ranks in between either. There's no ranks in between. So, if you want to pick up Honor Gear, that's good enough to start getting into PvP. It's not the best, but it will get you started, and it will get you kind of competitive. Of course, upgrading that gear is going to be good too, but getting started with a set, with a full Honor set is a fantastic start. You'll be a lot more even than with all the other players. A lot closer. Of course, gear makes a big difference, but at least it's a little bit easier to be on a more even playing field. Switch. Got ourselves team 2 together with Beastly on that team. We got C-Evoker. C-Evoker goes in on the Evoker. Oh my goodness. I am interested. You do so well on that Arcane Mage, but I do wonder how you are on that Evoker. Wow, Riftlight's going to be a immediate AMS as the knockback comes out by C-Evoker, trying to see if he can avoid the army of the undead as best as he can. Got himself the Shroud, so he can't really be stunned, but it can still be interrupted. Gonna be a big, whoa my god, the damage of the Deep Breath actually does a lot. Big mastery burst with the Fire Breath by C-Evoker, trying to see if he can potentially fight through flex, looking for a full defensive here. Got himself as much recovery as possible. Wall in order to get a couple of living flames, in order to get himself a little bit of health recovery. But he's trying to still continue to keep himself alive. Sleepwalking to Reflex for just a second. At some point, is going to have to get super hyper aggressive, though. That is going to be a big shatter. Potentially big damage on a C-Evoker. Got himself disintegrates back to back as he's using the hover ability in order to keep himself afloat. Living Flame right after. Again, just trying to maintain his health as best as he can, but trying to go between healing and damage as often as possible. Just trying to maximize all of it. Big clawing strikes onto Reflex just to keep him rooted for just a moment, just to keep him slowed. Big root onto the main pad. Sleep onto Rip into a big old shatter as a Fire Breath comes out. Is gonna have to delay. The main pet is still up there. Potentially could just claw down the main pet. That is gonna be Rip actually sacrificing the pet in order to expunge it for all of his health left, just to get himself a bit of recovery. C-Evoker has himself the Shroud coming back up very, very soon. Could potentially use the Shroud and the Wall in order to get himself a good position. He does have the Deep Breath ability back up again, so could use it possibly in order to make some big damage happen. Reflex does get hit with a Shatter, but it's actually going to back up out of there. As soon as he gets shattered, he doesn't want to take a lot of damage. Going to be dropping down the A-bomb next to C-Evoker though, as C-Evoker try to see if he can get himself a bit of a reset behind the pillar. Is at some point, oh, big deep breath. Doesn't quite hit Reflex, but does give C-Evoker, I guess, a bit of a different positional too. That's going to be potentially a wall opportunity. Wall as well as a big heal he's going to use right now. C-Evoker could go maybe for a Shroud as well in order to give him some more recovery here. That's going to be a big stun by the main pet. C-Evoker try to use the Living Flames in order to keep himself alive. Is using that in order to keep himself afloat as best as possible. Flex is going to try to see if he can break out of that rune, but the main pet is still stuck in that rune. He can't really approach by himself solo. He needs his pet to be by his side in order to go for a bit of stuns and a bit of damage, clawing down the Evoker. as best as possible. And see if I can just gonna focus down on pet. Does Reflex have another pet he can summon potentially? Because for Silver right now, it's actually quite a decent bit of output. Rip is trying to make sure he's trying to use that full damage range versus the Evoker as best as possible. I don't know if he can really find it though, as it is disintegrate literally through the bridge. He's trying to see if he can just keep that 25-yard range and see if he can stay just out of that range of the Evoker. He won't really be able to hit ya. But see, Evoker also at the same time has angles. Being able to hover while casting spells, if he can get an angle on ya to attach that disintegrate, he can just take the channel behind the pillar and just keep channeling. There's not much you can really do about it. Big knockback onto Reflex, does get put to sleep for a second, Ledgeborn to follow, and actually the Seawoker is going to focus down the main pet. Looks like literally using Shatter on the main pet, just take down the pet to deny Reflex some of the damage he's got going on overall though. Big deep breath to follow right after, all the pets stunned up, big mastery go by Seawoker, big fire breath right after, trying to go for as much recovery as possible, dome down for Reflex to reduce the magic damage taken by the Seawoker. Let's see if we're backing up out of there for just a moment. Big eternity surge right after. Is that enough damage? Does have him super low. Using hover. Does he have a way to maybe prevent any kind of stuns? Oh my god! That big living flame into disintegrate doesn't work. Seawork not only does well on the Arcane Mage, but the Evoker too. Oh, they're going from one Death Knight into the next. I don't know how that's gonna feel. That's gotta feel terrible. Silence? So it looks like you're not immune to silences with that Shroud. You're immune to proper stuns, but not silences. Seawo can take a lot of damage from the Subliterates back to back, maybe in a bit of trouble, trying to go for Living Flames. Maybe that'll be enough to keep him stay alive. The Lichborn for Chill Pills trying to break out of the sleep. Not much he can do, going from one anti-magic class to the next. The fact that you lived the Unholy Death Knight is impressive as it is, but living Unholy and then a Frost Death Knight as an Evoker, I don't know if that's easy. I don't think that's easy by any means. Dally going to be up next as an Assassin's Rogue versus Chill Pills as to try to see if you can potentially go for a bit of reset from the Rogue. I think just trying to wait until some cooldowns are back up. So resetting against a Rogue, not a bad idea as long as you get denied the Rogue a reset though. And looks like Dally was able to get himself potentially a clean reset, almost a clean reset. But the Howling Frost with the Frost Fever going to get him out in the open. I'm actually going to change the song mix if you guys don't mind, boys. Got a Shadow Step to a pet? Did Dally mean to Shadow Step to the pet or Chill Pills? That might have been a bit of a misplay. Gonna be Dally surrounded by the Death Knight as well as the pet. Cloak of Shadows to try to prevent some of the frosty damage, but still, the obliterates are going right through him. Got himself a Vanish. Death and Decay. Gonna be singeing his feet for just a second. Will not be able to stay in that Vanish for too long though. Got himself Sippy Cup. Looks like potential no dodge though. Looks like the Cloak of Shadows did give him a proper escape. Chill Pills trying to go for a bit of damage. Dally does go for a Battle Master Trinket, but it's going to be a stun by Chill Pills. Maybe enough damage right here. Going to be a big Frostwhelp coming down, or little Frostwhelp rather. As the Sheet Death comes out by the road, keeping him alive for just a second longer. Chill Pills just in a global ultra. Dally does get himself a little bit of health to work with. And actually, looks like the Rogue may be able to survive for a little bit longer here. Does he just go in for big bleeds on his Shield Pills? He does go for a stun, but a big Obliterate shattering the Rogue, with Parasite going to be up next as the Demon Hunter getting gripped up by Shield Pills, goes in for Death Strike immediately, but looks like Parasite was to back up out of there entirely. Leaping back in the right after to give himself a bit of a breather, leaping back into the fray with that Metamorphosis. Big Hunter around the corner, but can't quite do it. Shield Pills got full chain of ice locking down Parasite. One of the things that Demon Hunters are good in is mobility. Between Vengeful Retreat, between Fell Rushes, they got a lot of ways to reposition themselves with an ability in a moment. But those slows, they can't really stop slows. Once a Demon Hunter is slowed, they can't break out of a slow easily. Unless it's like a magical slow, then maybe you can use like Reflect Magic, right? Or Magic Reverse Magic. But when you got a slow on a Demon Hunter, there's nothing you can do about it. They can use Fell Rush to like, you know, push themselves forward in a direction, or eventually try to like flip themselves up in a certain area, like disengage in an area. But once you get a slow with the Chain of Ice, that's going to be the one thing that I think that's going to give Chill Pills an opportunity to recover here. Was able to deny the hunt from Parasite a couple of times. If you can do it again, this is going to be in a fantastic spot. Parasite does need to go for a big hunt at some point. Stun on Chill Pills, big hunt to follow. Not much you can do about it. Massive break, blind onto Parasite, but the Blade Dance still goes through even after you're blind. That is a lot of chaos damage for Chill Pills to deal with. Does drop down the dome. That's going to be imprisoned with a trinket out of Parasite. Chill Pills does have full cooldowns on the ready. Gripping the Demon Hunter back over, but it's going to be a full Sigil of Fear off of that imprisoned. Not given an opportunity to actually play the game. Silence on the Parasite, but Chills does have no health at all. Can he Death Strike long enough? AMS, maybe they'll give him survivability. Does he just commit big damage on the Parasite? That is a blur. I don't know if you do it. I don't think he'd do it. He's thinking about backing up potentially. He's gonna sacrifice the pet, the ghoul, in order to expunge it for whatever hell he's got. Parasite actually kind of low in health. How much is immunity? I feel like Parasite is waiting until the next set of stuns available, and then he might just win this one. I-Beam does go for a big cleave on Chilpas. Blade Dancer follow. Super deadly. Oh my god, this could be anyone's game. This will survive. Oh no. Chilpas does try to see if he can fight through it, but Parasite with them big cleaves off of that Assassin's Break, there's not much you can really do about it. Kevin trying to see if he can close that gap, does get hit with an imprison. I don't know if it's in a prison where you can zerk a rage out of it. It may be one of those imprisons that's like a solid imprison. Big pet getting slammed up, and Parasite looking to pick up the demonic soul, catching up a little bit of healing. That healing has been reduced by like quite a bit. And then also the leech healing has been reduced also by quite a bit in PvP. So I guess it does mean the Parasite doesn't get a lot of recovery, but it's kind of hoping to get another demonic soul if he can. Does get himself I-Beam, Vengeful Retreat, trying to stay survivable. That's going to be Stormbolt, but does get you immune through Vengeful Retreat. Mad damage on Kevin. Is it going to be enough though? Kevin looks like maybe able to potentially get himself big damage onto Parasite. Parasite though with a Blade Dance off of the hunt may be enough here. Kevin trying to see if he can recover a little bit. Oh! But does go down. The Demon Hunter does end up claiming him. That hunt together while bleeding out to the Glade Toss. There's only so much you can do about it, man. Only so much you can do about it. That's rough. That is really, really rough. And Beastly going to be second to last on the team 2. Also Diabolic second to last on the team 1. Warlock versus Warlock having to fight each other. Beastly walking in. That's going to be... it looked like your demon came from like... beyond the fence. Weird. It's gonna be a full big Pitlord onto Diabolics. Actually kind of afraid, literally running away from Pitlord if you can with a full Tyrant, or not Tyrant. Oh no, it is a Tyrant. I'm confusing my demons. Joining in, I think for Diabolics. The Diabolics is gonna get a mortal call into Beast. Beast at no health whatsoever. Does he get to find a way to survive it here? Definitely just also got a big healing wall getting used down onto Diabolics, but I think he just overpowered him with demons. Diabolics plays more of a Fell Lord build. In order to go for like more, I guess, focus on his Tyrant, focus on his main pet. He doesn't go into the big old Pit Lord. As long as he can survive the Pit Lord, he'll be okay. Where Diabolics kind of think have a bit more sustained damage. He doesn't have as big of a ramp go, but he definitely can do quite a bit either way. Whereas Beastly does go in for the big Pit Lord, but you gotta make sure it's the beefiest Pit Lord possible. It gets a full clean go, and then it can just overpower your enemy, just ramp up through them. That's a tough one though. More sustainy Warlock versus a bursty Warlock, with Storm actually getting quite a bit of damage versus Diabolics. Diabolics is getting hit with the silence for just a second. Mortal Call into Storm. Does Storm get to recover here? He has him on the ropes while full Void Eruption is available. Void Form is up. Mind Games to follow with a Void Torrent. Diabolics is going for a few for just a second. Stormy is going to go for a bit of a disperse. Diabolics with no help whatsoever. Does he just die right here? Next, Shadowboard Execute. Could be it. Shadowboard Death potentially. Trying to go for Shadowboard Death. Axtos, does Diabolics get to survive this? He needs one more global, another Shadowboard Death, but it's not enough. Storm is going to go for a fear on all these pets. Diabolics have no help whatsoever. Just needs one more instant cast. Stun around the corner. Going to be a trick for Diabolics. Storm jumping under it as well. Storm needs a bit of recovery. Try to go for Flash Heal. The pet is right around the corner. Could potentially go for an Axtos. Going to be Shadow Crouch for Storm. Diabolics just trying to kind of let the pets do work. Storm trying not to die right here. Do they have any survivability? Could just go down either way though. Needs one more global. Oh, I think actually that Shadowboard Death might have ended up killing you there. That's unfortunate. Oh no, he got him with a Mortal Coil, but barely survived the Shadowboard Death. But then Shadowboard Death has a backsplash damage, see ya, and you're Mortal Coil, so there's nothing you can do about it either. That is a rough one, man. That is so rough. Let's get another one going here, boys. Yeah, uno más. I like that a lot. Let's get another one. That was so fun, dude. That's actually insane. Garber, if you guys need a +1, I will let the groups know. And if they have a spot, I will get you in. As I was asking you, they ended up filling. Here we go. I don't want to leave Garbo on red. Dude, that was intense. There was a lot going on that game. Me and another Gene. Chicago, you can take my spot. I gotta go eat. Okay, sounds good. So, Seavark and Chicago are gonna switch around. If you guys need a +1, Garbo is looking for a spot. Stick with Arcane. It's pretty good though. Seavark can stand up against a DK that knows that he's doing like chill pills. Only Evoker is worth watching is Viserith. You think so? Come on, man. Come on, dude. Oh my goodness. Why you gotta be like that mad, man? We gotta get more people trying out the Evoker. I want Evoker to do well. You do 3-0 now, check back later. Okay. That's perfect. So Night King and either Beastly or Chicago, let me know if you guys are ready. If you guys got a 5-man team. Or if you guys need more boys. Viserith. Where is Viserith, Mav? Let's get Viserith in here. 5, perfect. Yo, Seawork, thanks for joining, my guy. Super fun watching you play. Glad you gave that Evoker a spin, man. I gotta start playing mine as well. I gotta see how I can do with it. Because there's been more people have been checking out Evoker. It's definitely picked up a lot of popularity in Mythic Pluses. I wonder if it's gonna do the same in raids and in PvP over time as well. I think as people figure out like a safer, easier build with Evoker, or like a one-shot build or something like a Giga Dam build that's like super reliable, then it seems like a very reliable build. It's strong in the PvP one moment, yeah, but it's definitely hard to play. Definitely a little bit harder to play. How many are we at now? 91, 92, 93, huge. Alrighty, let's get you guys in here. And we got Chicago, 5, Rook is what I think I want to do. Black Rook hold. I'm just sitting back like, damn, I could be playing my DK and chilling rather than playing my Pally. It's whenever you want to play VAR. If you want to swap over to a Death Knight and join the duels on that thing, you can. Or you mean like if you're like leveling one and still working on one, you're more than welcome to, man. Yeah, if you want to do whatever you want to do, my guy. Let me have a rematch against Chill, please. I didn't get a proper open on him. It wasn't installed when I attacked. Was thinking it was. Oh, you're good. You still get a chance to go again here, my guy. You potentially could have a chance going against him. Like if Chilpos goes first, you can maybe ask a team like, yo, can I go first? Just to get a proper 1v1. A mono versus Shield. Just know the Chilpos, man, he's had his years of getting blasted out by rogues. Death Knights and rogues that kind of go back and forth at each other. It's either the Death Knight overpowers rogues, or rogue just go in, assassinate the Death Knight, shove him on the side, leave him bleeding on the floor, and just escape. So Death Knights and rogues, man, have been going at it for a while, honestly. He's been through the paces. He played a lot of Death Knight over his time, so he's been through his paces with rogues. He knows what to do against rogues. So you want a rematch, I get it, but like if it doesn't turn out how you want it, just be aware. So Twitch, got ourselves Kevin Landers gonna be first up over for the team. 1, maybe not. Wait, backing up. Maybe there's making a bit of a switcheroo. That or maybe just backing away from Chicago, trying to get locked down by the Frost Shocks. Gonna be a big spear opener, big damage for Kevin. Trinket out of Chicago. This is gonna be full mad damage out of Kevin Landers. Chicago does end up walking away from the spear. Double stun lockdown onto Kevin though. Just trying to see if he can walk away from him. Kevin does get to reconnect back up. Using a defensive really early here though with that enraged regen. I'm not really sure if he meant to use that ability that early on though. But maybe he did. Chicago has a bunch of Frosty Shocks. I think blast firing out from the weapons every time they fight him, potentially with the new enchant. And actually, I wonder if the Frost enchant benefits in Mastery too. I imagine it does. Does get himself a random Ascendance proc, but it's not enough to crack through Kevin Landers just yet. Ghost will start joining in. That's going to give you plenty of Maelstrom to fight through the Warrior, but the Warrior is just relentless. Got himself the full Reckless's big yellow blast is going to connect though. Kevin better be really careful. Got himself a lot of damage output right now. Full Recklessness on the ready with the what looked like Odin's Fury, big bleed, got himself a reflect in case Chicago goes in for potentially Alien Blast, Frost Shocks, whatever you got going on. And it's going to be a quick charge by Kevin. Stormbolt onto Chicago. Kevin took a bit of damage. Earth Elemental is going to be present for Chicago, giving him a little bit more health to work with. So it should be, for the most part, okay. Mad damage on Kevin. May have to go for very defensive here. Going to be Ghost Raptors on him. But Chicago, oh, I think the Raptors with the Flame Shock, just the passive damage that wasn't even Chicago at the end, was able to take him down over time. With Rip Flags going to be up next, at least it looks like giving Chicago a bit of an honor duel here. I wonder if he'll give Chicago an opportunity to potential recovery in health. 1 heal, that's all he took. Had plenty of Maelstrom, Earth Shield, 1 heal, he's chilling. We'll see how it goes, because Reflex so far has been very good against magic classes. So far, Reflex has had an interesting night where he's been able to counter most magic users fairly easily. But Chicago is an interesting eclectic mix of absolute elemental damage and physical damage as well, between Storm Strikes, Wind Fury hits, as well as the Frost Shocks, LA Blast, Lightning Bolts. So it's going to be an interesting mix. I wonder if it ends up winning him the game or if it ends up losing, depending on how heavy he is on that elemental damage, I guess. As Chicago takes a lot of damage from the grippy hand, it's going to be ripping at him with Dome down for Rip, trying to deny a lot of the magic damage as best as he can, but still his defenses are getting shattered little by little. Blind onto Chicago as they're fully dotted up, as the Army of the Dead does dissipate for Rip Flag. So honestly, for Chicago, they may actually be in a such a good spot right now. There is an A-bomb also falling apart as well. So Rip Flag's having to pop a big defensive there with a death pack. May mean that he's falling behind versus Chicago, as they do use whatever mana they had left in order to get himself a little bit of a heal. Try to see if he can catch up to Rip Flag, see if they could potentially maybe get a slow totem on him. Does get himself the Raptors joy and then Sunder to follow, as Rip does end up recovering from a death pack AMS in order to deal with a lot of that magic damage. But that Ascendance is going to give Chicago a little bit mix of like magic and physical damage as well, just burning through all the shields. Another Ascendance to follow right after, just get himself lots of procs back to back with his chain lightnings over and over and over again. Rip Flag may be in a bit of trouble actually. Oh, it does get Storm Strike down by Chicago. The mix of that lightning and physical damage, the striking of that storm just does work. With Kevin Lando's going to be up next versus Chicago. Chicago tried to give him a little bit of a dance, but does need to go for a bit of recovery. At least give an opportunity to catch up a little bit of healing, a little bit of mana, a little bit of Maelstrom. And Val is able to at least get some holy power off of those Raptors. I like the honorable duels tonight, man. Everybody's giving Chicago like a proper chance here. Kuda will just walk in, snap them out while they're low, but they're giving Chicago a proper chance to stand toe-to-toe, or hoof-to-toe, really, in this dueling arena. Do you have visible hoofs whenever you wear shoes, by the way, as a Janai? Can't tell because you got Raptor feet right now. Big hammer hanging over your head. Chicago does have a wall for it. Will need a lot of Maelstrom. Double stun onto Val. Maybe enough. You're barely surviving that hammer. Does need to go for survivability. Needs Maelstrom. In big need of Maelstrom, Val may just have you here. Val could take you down right now. Any moment. You're just so close. Battle message trinket falling off in the last second. You need Maelstrom right now. You got Wolfies coming back in. Ghost Raptors could be huge. Definitely needs Maelstrom. Has just enough mana. Needs to go for survivability. Shield Divider is up for Var, so he's going to use that in order to get some back damage out to Chicago. But it's going to be mad procs for Chicago. They're forcing out a bubble out of Var. Wait, maybe Chicago could potentially turn this around. You have a grounding totem. If you can ground a stun, I think you win this duel. I think you win this right here. But you need to be able to ground a stun at a perfect time. I don't know if you have it available. I don't know if you can time it right. Var get hit with a thunder for just a second into a blind on Chicago. Does drop down the grounding totem. But now that it's gone, Var can follow up with a stun. Chicago's at least a little bit careful, a little bit aware of what's going on. Maybe he can get Ghost Raptors fast enough, looking for a bit of recovery, at least trying to start this duel up, or get back in the duel with full health bar. Stun, more of a defensive stun. Var trying to see if he can crack the defensive, but his health is just not doing all that great. Chicago looking for a full reheals. They got a bit of Maelstrom. Ghost Raptor join in. Var using a lay on hands, does not trust himself with a blessing of protection. It's only going to stop a portion of Chicago's damage. Only the physical, but that makes it physical and magical. Just gives you opportunity to pierce past those defensives. And Var got himself whatever heals he got going on with a lay on hands, but it's not really doing much for him. Shield Divider's going back up by 30 seconds faster. Does help you out tremendously. Double stun onto Var. And it's going to be big Ellie Blast around the corner as Chicago avoiding the splashback damage of that Shield of Vengeance. Does have a pre-wall. They would just want to walk into this one with a pre-wall. They actually could be okay. Does have a trinket too. Choosing whether they want to use a trinket on that Hodge or not. It's more of a defensive Hodge, so Chicago's saving that trinket for later. So they'll have it when they are in trouble, when they are in big need. He's trying to see if they can potentially get himself a good go versus Var, but that hand of hindrance does slow you down by quite a bit. Var able to get himself quite a bit of defensives, trying to see if the Chicago will waste their time purging the defensive, and that's exactly what they're going to have to do, is going to be able to slam through those blessing of protection and just continue the damage, continue the pressure. Did use a wall in order to give himself a little bit of survivability. But now they have to fight against chill pills. Unholy death at chill pills, so potentially a lot of pressure by these pets. But pets very controllable. Full army that they join in, totem to root him down in place. Thunder into chill pills as he's separated by the army. Does get himself the Earth Elemental, which Earth Elemental is actually going to do is going to randomly taunt, and some of those ghouls are going to start attacking the Earth Elemental over Chicago unless they just go down. Oh my god. Technically the Earth Elemental should help you in that. But if the ghouls will stay on you for just a little bit longer, if you can go for a proper stun on the shaman while they're low, lock him down, those ghouls just need to get a couple of claw strikes in before they get taunted by the pet. As Dali going to be up next, Triples immediately pressing IB up versus Dali, trying to see if he can fight through the rogue. As the shaman held their own for a while, 3 people down, and it's going to be down to Chills and Diabolis to potentially bring it back for their team. It only taunts if the target the pets first. Really? Okay, never mind then. Apparently the pet is very, very specific in how it works. I had no idea. I thought it would just randomly radiate taunt. Had no clue. But apparently I'm wrong on that one. Chillpills is gonna be trying to see if he can fight right through Dali. Evasion up for the rogue, but I don't know if he can really do much about it. Just got a clawing shadows right through him. Picking up eyes, I'm not really sure if he meant to do that at that point. But Stormlux is gonna be up next. Stunned, but Chillpills trying to play it very, very defensive. Trying to be extra careful with the Shadow Prince because once they got full PI, once they got the full eruption, you're just trying to avoid all those bullets. That's gonna be stunned with the Mind Gives Raptor. Does go for a quick trinket in order to be able to break out of it. Lichborn as well. Wait, was that trinket and Lichborn? Might have actually been. Stormlux, Shadow crashing around the corner. It is going to go connect with Chillpills. It is going to do a bit of damage. Chill does go for a big sacrifice on the pet together with the Deathpack, just trying to give himself a little bit extra health of a buffer. But it's not really health that he can recover efficiently, as he got a lot of those health, a lot of good portion of that health just necrotic out. Any healing he does will just get absorbed into the necrotic effect. Stormlux with a trinket, trying to see if he can break away from Chill, as it's going to be a bunch of these ghouls, a bunch of abominations, all these pets stunned out in the open. Nothing he can do about it. I think it may just be over for Stormlux. Just absolutely overpowered by the army of the Scourge, and that's going to be a quick execute at the very, very end there too. As Chillpills does go from one to the next, was able to fight through Shaman as they're basically limping, but it was able to do work though. Did fight through the Rogue, having to fight through Shadow Priest, did that perfectly, but now has to fight through a Demonology Warlock. There's going to be a Bonza fell too. Not much you can do about that Bonza, and if you break it, just going to take a bit of the fire damage. That is going to be a big old Pitlord join in. Chillpills, maybe does he have a stun for that thing? May need to go for a slow. Just try to see if he can go for as much self-healing as possible. That Pitlord just wrecking right through. The auto attacks for the Pitlord are just not feeling all that great. Trying to go for as much recovery as possible. That's a lot of physical damage for Chillpills to deal with. Back-to-back axe tosses, not feeling that great, but BC also not feeling that great either. Blinded to all the pets. Chillpills trying to give himself a bit of recovery. And that's going to be the army of his ghouls falling apart. But execute! Oh, no way! No way Chillpills to bring it back for the team. That was such a perfectly timed execute. He literally got him low enough, blinded, popped an execute, walked away, and just waiting. Bro, that was insane. That was actually insane. My goodness. And Parasite is going to be up next, leaping around the corner. Chillpills does have a pre-MS for it, but there's only so much you can do, man. That Blade Dance is going to take ya. Wow, that was intense. That guy, dude, he was bringing it back for his team, having to fight through 4 of them. That is incredible. That timing, that was so perfect. It was such a close duel between him and the Warlock. I can't believe he escaped out of that one scot-free too. Down blocks with the wall, trying to see if he can lock down Parasite back to back, as the Demon Hunter should be able to fight through all his demons. Literally a class that summons demons versus a class that fights them for a living. Eats him for breakfast. Big Blade Dances out of Parasite though. If he can get himself another Essence Breaker to Diabolics with another Blade Dance, that's going to be super, super deadly. Shadow him out for just a second. Try to go for a fear onto all these pets, separating the Warlock away from all the pets. But Diabolics at least making sure to keep the Curse of Exhaustion on the Demon Hunter at all times. Essence Break, missing it completely. Diabolics, perfect trinket. That timing was amazing. It's going to be dropping down to Fellord around the corner, but Parasite walking out of it. Does Parasite have anything left here right now? He just needs a little bit, few more globes, maybe some healing, but looks like Diabolics just have taken him at the end. He's still holding on to that candle above his head. It is still lit. My goodness. Yo, Chilled brought it back for his team big time. Chicago played really, really well. That's a lot of healing, by the way, Chicago. That is a ton of healing. More healing than damage, by the way. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, dude. 5 million healing. That is a lot of healing, Chicago. That is a ton. That's enhanced for you, though. It's funny how enhanced can have 5 million healing, but Red Paladins can't even have a judgment that gives you movement speed. Okay, let's get another one going, boys. That is so good. My god, Chicago, you actually blasted it. I still can't believe Chillpills was making it out of there, man. I can't believe he bypassed that Warlock. I just don't believe it. I did not even think it was gonna happen. Red's gonna have anything down. True. Process is so bad, sorry man, that's not any good either. I don't know. My man Cries Bad walked in yesterday. He did do pretty good. That's what makes me so sad so far. Yo, Deathstroke, dude, Cries Bad. I gotta ask Cries Bad what he thinks of Deathstroke, because he's playing a lot. He seemed to do really, really well yesterday, man. Popped off in a 1v4 at no health. No, he didn't. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, he didn't. Who? The Death Knight? When I said Death Knight overcame the Warlock? I mean, it looked like they both kind of just threw the pets at each other and he barely lived it, right? Barely lived it. and then he just got that execute off. I thought that was really well done, but each is their own, I guess. But you were playing red to make the SATA? Dude, I do need to get a red pally up and running VAR. I need to play some Paladin. Prop pally. Holy pally is getting like the full melee build amped up in 10.05, so I'm actually very, very excited for it. Destru's okay, but Demo is just a better. Yeah, I don't really know what they can do besides like nerfing Demo or buffing the other specs, because they keep buffing Destro and Afi, which is good that they're buffing them. For PvE purposes, Destro is actually better than Demo. Like in terms of PvE, it's actually in that situation where it's actually just better. Hell, even Affliction is better than Demo in some cases, to a degree. Demo is still very, very popular. It's gonna get a lot of play, but like when it comes to like min-maxing with these bosses, like in single target, they're very, very similar. But for PvP, having that pet that can stun for you, PvP is a little bit of a different game. How we doing on groups, boys? Looks like Chicago is looking for more in the Raid's Legacy section. Potentially, yeah, they're looking for one more. Uno mas. So we need uno mas. If you guys want to join in, we got a group listed in Raids. Oh no, it's Night King that's looking for a +1. Never mind. Okay. Night King, my man Chill Pills needs a +1. It looks like Flex was popped off for the night. Actually, I like watching Flex playing Holy, man. I was actually enjoying it. I hope it's like that more than Survival Hunter. Actually, is it like done with Survival Hunter completely, or is it one of those where it's just like, just gotta experiment and playing some Ultra stuff? Rudes is in the halls. Oh, Flex is being on Hunter. Oh, we're switching around a little bit. Okay. Do I get Dalat Anza join us, maybe? He's a Mugabala. I don't wanna bother him. SB, PvE, Fuzz last him earlier. Garba is in doing 3s right now, apparently. Kevin is in. Krenkin Kaiser. We get Kaiser in here? Potentially. If you guys want to join in, by the way, if you find the group or even Raids Shadowlands, Raids Legacy, you should be able to join in my boy Night King. They're looking for one more. If you type in number 5, just type in like in search number 5 and hit enter, you'll find the group right then and there. Good evening, everybody. I'm actually playing a new player server. I'm looking for a high population server region in America. So if you have any suggestions, who needs one? Night King does need one if you want to join in, Mav. High pop realms, Kung Fu. I would check out like Area 52 or Illidan or Tyke if you're into West Coast. Depends on your region, honestly, like where you live, like physically, like East Coast, Mountain Time, all that stuff. But there's a lot of big realms out there. The ones that I know are big are like Area 52 is a pretty massive realm. Illidan's a pretty big realm. Tyke is a pretty decent sized realm. If you're playing Alliance, I think Sargeras is a big realm. And there's a Storm Rage, I think it was. I think. It all depends, really. Yeah. Hear me out, Del. We're buffer paladins and mobility and defensives. And we need the burst, and we need the burst above the consistency. Consistency. When people say consistency, do they mean like consistency in terms of survivability, or consistency in terms of like burst damage, or damage consistency? Because people have a different like, what is it? Different thought process. Depending on what you mean, though. Thals 1. Is Thrall a big server? Yeah, I couldn't chill post group. Okay, so they're looking for one more. I need to get you. That'll be good to go. In terms of RNG. Oh, okay. Well, does Red Belly have a lot of RNG behind it? I don't think it. There is some RNG with the auto attacks, but. So there is RNG. That being said, I don't really know if it's as much RNG as some of the other classes. I think it's a bit of RNG where your rotation isn't exactly like a set rotation. There's a little bit of variation to it. But I don't think it's enough RNG where it's like your RNG, I guess, in terms of damage would mostly be down to like, do you crit or do you not crit when you have wings up? But you always have a very reliable bit of burst with your wings, you know? For the most part, your burst is very, very reliable in terms of the way the procs work and whatnot. They generally are always up. Where RNG would be, where I would say there would be RNG is like playing the Gamba build as a handsome shaman. It's like every time you Storm Strike, you can have Ascendance. That can either give you like 100,000 DPS single target or like 2. You know, that's pretty RNG. Outwork is kind of RNG too, like roll the bone stuff. There is more ways to control it, but like That'd be an obvious example too. Another class that would be a lot of like RNG in terms of like your rotation or like your playstyle output, or overall damage output. Would Warlock be RNG? No, because you have like a specific go you can do. Maybe like Destry if you're doing like 2 target. I just don't know if there's a lot of classes out there that really do have that much RNG behind it. There's less classes that have RNG than no RNG. Like granted, there are some moments where you do get like procs for damage in between your rotation that can speed up your rotation a little bit, but it's not to the point where it's like your big go will always be consistent. You know what I mean? Your big go, your big damage output, where damage really matters, is always consistent. At least in that class, compared to the some of the other classes. Yeah, I don't really know. I guess I don't know how you would solve the RNG though, without like completely eliminating procs and just upping the damage of abilities. I'm trying to think of like in terms of like how would you fix it? But yeah, I don't think our thread is that much RNG, is it? Could be wrong though. Or like it's heavy RNG with a soul conduit and aim duplicating aim gang boss spawns. So there's a bit of RNG there, I guess. Yeah, Valkyrie, yeah. Vision of Perfect was amazing for pals in BFA. Vision of Perfection, yeah, I remember that. I do remember that back in the day. Chicago 5, what do we do? Did we do Dalaran Sewers? Or was it Dalaran Sewers? Nah, Red's RNG comes from if Blizz is gonna nerf him into the ground and leave him there for expansion or not. True. Priest, Shadow. Is there much RNG with Shadow Priest? Because I played Shadow Priest, there was a bit of like a proc element to it, but in terms of like your go, I've always felt like I had a consistent go. Well, actually, I guess there is in terms of AoE. If you're playing that one talent where Mind Bus can grab you randomly seer, that can be pretty big on RNG. You can either have a big go or not. Although, yes, it's there, but the build in 10.05 allows you for like more like an Outlaw Rogue Blade Filler Recleave cycling playstyle, which eliminates a lot of that RNG. Like, you'll probably still run the Serum random proc, but a lot of your damage if you just go into like big cleaver cycling thing, I mean, that damage is consistent. Put up dots on everybody, single target the hell out of one guy, cleaves everybody else. It actually does more damage than all the other abilities that cleave itself. It's very, very potent. So, yes, but also no, but no in like 2 weeks kind of deal. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's some RNG. I feel like I think it's perfectly acceptable to have some RNG so your rotation isn't static. If you have a class where you're just like if your rotation is like 4 buttons and you press button 1, button 4, button 1, button 3, button 1, button 2, and that's all you do the entire time, I feel like that can get kind of boring. So some variations so your buttons are not exactly the same, I think is perfectly fine. RNG, like, for me, it's like a very, very specific thing when it comes to RNG, I guess. So Twitch. Gonna be Parasite getting hit with a stun lock, but Chill Pills in the opener. ASUS checking out that Unholy Death Knight, dropping in the big A-bomb versus Parasite as the man backing up out of there. Does end up spawning in a demon, slaying it fairly quickly. Picking up the demonic soul as well, but is mostly looking to retreat away from the Death Knight, trying to see if he can leap right back over. Stun to follow. Does he have a big cleave? I think may have connected with that cleave, but that chain of ice is slowing down quite a bit. Either has to focus on fighting the pets the Chill Pills has spawned in, or chase out of the Death Knight. It looks like he decided I'd rather be chased out of DK. Does slay a demon very, very quickly. That's gonna help him recover a ton of health. Short stun on Chill Pills, big blade dancer follow, but he does go for the AMS, trying to reduce a lot of that chaotic damage out of Parasite as best as possible. Quick Hunt isn't really able to get a good go with Hunt around the corner. Chill Pills now knows exactly what Parasite is trying to do. Could hit him with a chain of ice and play that ring around the rose around the pillar, but Parasite, seeing the whole army of the dead, just trying to see if he can shut them all out of it. That's what Chill Pills is trying to charge out, trying to get the pets over in Parasite, but he's looking to avoid him entirely. Trying to limit as much damage from those pets as best as he can. Can he potentially get himself a big blade dance on the Chill Pills? Looks like he does connect with that Essence Break, but he can never get himself a proper go. Does end up kind of messing himself up with that Hunt, dropping himself down onto the pillar, onto the little like a what do they call it? Platform. As he went in for the Hunt, he isn't really able to get himself a proper go at all, though. AMS up for Chill Pills right now. Darkness down for Parasite. Definitely needs himself a demonic proc at all. If you can get one, that'd be fantastic. Looks like focusing in on that ghoul instead. Chill Pills does end up sacrificing one, maining a new one. Gonna be immunity for Parasite as soon as he gets hit with that stun. So he's actually able to avoid a lot of the damage to Chill Pills, at least avoid a proper go from Chill Pills. But the man does have himself the main pet empowered. That's also going to be the big abomination joining in. Parasite, as soon as he sees the main pet empowered, is backing up out of it entirely. Slaying that demon, trying to go for the demonic soul. Can Chill Pills keep him away from it, trying to lock him down with Shade of Ice. But it's going to be Parasite picking up the demonic soul. Does activate I-Beam. That's going to be full metamorphosis. Big blade dance into Chilpas. Does he have a big hunt to follow? Could potentially go for the big hunt off of that. It looks like trying to see if he can bait maybe cooldowns into Chilpas. Does go for the AMS in order to deny the damage from the hunt. Trying to reduce the nature damage of that thing as best as possible. Parasite putting himself out in the open. Does get slammed down by the ghouls, by the pets, by the Valkyrie, who got himself a decent position, I think. But is going to end up despawning at the end of the day. Had himself a good spot for a moment. Parasite had no help whatsoever. Looks like the army of the undead is able to overpower him. Does go for vengeful retreat as the execute comes out. Reduces the damage by quite a bit too. Actually, I think that vengeful retreat is what let him survive that execute just now. Big IBM to follow. Stun locked by the main pet. Chill plus just sees a global to a couple of death goals back to back. Parasite no health and does end up bleeding out to the dots. That is super unfortunate. My goodness. GG Flex as the Survival Hunter going to be up next. Locking down Chilpas with a big coordinated assault. Trinkets out with a flank strike to follow. Got himself a lot of kill commands. A lot of kill shots back to back for Chilpas. Trying to see if he can keep himself at a better distance versus Chilpas. Is going to go for the Spearhead. Use the Spearhead and coordinated assault just to stay aggressive with Chilpas. That's a lot of bleed damage on the chills. Lots of extra bonus pressure. And Chilpas, I think at some point, if he can find a way to survive through the bleeds, he may be okay. Big synergy to Flex. Does he get to overpower him with the army of the undead? I think may just have him. Flex does get himself a little bit of heal. Has a turtle in case things ever get well. That is going to be an execute on Flex. You know, can Chilpas set up a proper execute on Flex? Looks like he's just able to overpower me with the turtle. And I think maybe the disease is what got him. That is super, super unfortunate. Maybe still on Death and Decay, potentially. Fear out of Storm Lux with the Mind Games to follow. Chills does have an AMS for it, but I think the Mind Game still went through either way, though. Unless he was able to deny it with that AMZ. But I think it's still connected either way. Vamp Blood, or Vamp is available for Storm Lux, was able to use it in order to keep himself alive. Silence and Shield Pills. When a Death and Silence, quite a good portion of your abilities is actually locked out. A lot of your diseases, a lot of your pet empowerments, a lot of your technically magical abilities are unavailable for use whenever you silence. Like your Interrupt, for example, is technically a spell. So there is quite a good portion of their abilities that are just locked whenever you get silenced. Storm trying to see if they could potentially maybe survive through the army of the undeads. The main goal getting sacrificed for Chilpas, summoning a fresh one either way. But that's going to be a full disperse for Storm. Expect a big go by Chilpas. Does get locked down and stun. Is going to go for a trinket. Flash shield for Storm as they get a little bit of recovery. AMS for Chilpas, so they have that perfect cover as they're able to approach Storm as they try to see if they can crack through a big shield. And finally is able to go for a proper stun, maybe a full set of dots. Mind Games, trying to go for a proper Mind Games, but Chill is trying to avoid him. The main pet, empowered. Stormlex is going to take a lot of damage from the main pet. You definitely need to do some damage to the main pet. Maybe even hit that thing with the Mind Games, because that thing will end up killing you either way, though. That is super unfortunate. Is able to get himself a little bit of recovery, though. Breeze do have a lot more self-survivability than ever before, which helps him out a lot in PvP. Vamp Embrace is up for Storm Legs. I can't wait until that ability is off of the global cooldown instead of 5 minutes. It's gonna feel so nice. So much more of a reactionary ability. Stun into Storm, maybe in a bit of trouble. Not a lot of defenses left. Can they escape the army of the undead? Does get himself a bit of a shield. As long as they have Power Ward Life, maybe you can use a Power Ward Life to escape from critical condition. Chilpas needs just a little bit more damage put in the pressure. Does get the execute. My god, Death Knights with the executes, man. Reaping their souls is so strong. Chicago gonna be up next. Got themselves that Nether Drake, which looks absolutely fantastic. I feel like the Nether Drake is one of those drakes that can stand test of time, dude. Looking like a shark head over here, but it looks so good no matter the expansion. I feel like there are some like textures that are a little outdated, but it looks so good. Like the overall essence of it just looks fantastic. Chilpas gonna be up versus Chicago. Immediately walls damage off as Chilpas does get himself the army of the dead. That ramp up of the army together with a transform goal should be a lot here. Chilpas does go for the IBF, trying to see if he can avoid the double stun. Massive double stun for the main pest. That could be really bad for him overall, though. That's gonna be massive incentives for Chicago. Get himself a lot of damage, massive wet strikes, but a blind is gonna be able to disrupt him in between. Already trinketed, trying to keep the pets or at least Chilpas away in that static totem. But looks like maybe the pets were able to ignore it. Chilpas with a death pack does give himself a little bit more survivability here, but cannot really heal right through it. Chicago has plenty of medicine to work with, only 32% dampening, so he's able to still recover a lot of health. As Chilpas trying to see if he can just delay Chicago's goal for a little bit here, just trying to slow him down with a chain of ice. He's going to be dropping down the big A-bomb. That's a big root onto main pet, though, which is super unfortunate, as Chilpas trying to coalesce corral the entire army of undeads versus Chicago. Sunder, but Chicago's surrounded by the army of the dead. Do they have any survivability? Does have Ghost Raptors coming back up, but those double stuns could potentially make him super, super low in health. Does he have a silencer follow? Needs a heal right now, but oh, just absolutely surrounded by the entire army. There's only so much you can do in that situation. So far, the Death Knight has been able to hold his own, boys. Fat finger wall at the start. That's all good, my guy. Yeah, I thought for a second like you used wall really early. I didn't know if it was like on purpose or not, but now it explains it. Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like you... That probably could have probably changed the game, Chicago. That's unfortunate, man. But you know what? Happens. Happens. Sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes you make a wrong call, but it's okay. Get back in the arena and do it again. Improve, get better, all the good stuff. Gonna be chill post, try to see if we can avoid BC for a little bit. Does have the Fell Lord back here, and is gonna have the gold chasing after BC. Does get interrupted and a lockdown by double pen. It's gonna be stoned to BC. Does chill post have himself a proper go? I think he may just have the whole Valkyrie, everything here. Got the full summon of the pets. You're just gonna keep beast locks over there with the army of the undead just absolutely surrounded with the mages of the dead doing work. It's a question of, do the pets of Beastly overpower chill pills, or do the ghouls just end up taking down Beastly? And chill pills just absolutely been AFK out of that match entirely. Gonna be the A-bomb join in, but the A-bomb is attacking one of the demons of Beastly rather than Beastly himself. If you can get Beastly low enough, you could potentially go for the big execute on him. Tyrant join in. That's a lot of pets chasing after chill pills. That's gonna be a big demon dog is charging in with an axe toss, but Beastly does go down to the Valkyrie. Oh my god, no way! Chill pills with a full necromancer build, letting these pets just absolutely do work. My goodness. Demonic commander build, bro. He just left those pets on a warlock and just AFK'd. He was like, alright, I'm putting my pets on you. And BC was like, I'm gonna put my pets on you. And we're gonna see whose pets are better. Looks like Chillpill's undeads are just absolutely nutty on a holy. Oh my god, it's so good. It is so good. The DK matches are so incredibly difficult. They are. Death Knights themselves don't really... There's some classes that do get hard countered by Death Knights, but Death Knights also don't have a lot of survivability generally. But when a Death Knight can go up against a class that's mostly about magic damage, they can mitigate a lot of the damage. But against like a fully physical class, that's a tough one. That's a hard one to get through. You win some, you lose some though. You again? I'm down. As soon as Night King has a 5-man team, as long as he lets me know that he got a group, I'm good. Good to queue again. What arena did we do, chat? We never get to do Lord Ron last week, I think. So maybe we do Lord Ron today? No, the DK matchup, Sag. Yeah, man, it's okay, though. Death Knights don't always win them. For sure, for sure. Do the new arena. Nokodon? Okay. As your request, I'll do Nokodon. And we'll probably do Lord Ron, get us as a hook point at some point. Maybe one Maldraxxus? Has more live, but doesn't even need to stay in the melee. Process to stay in melee, but has no live. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Unholy is just so heavy on those pets. I kind of like that you can build yourself to be like pet heavy, disease heavy, stuff like that, right? A lot of that sustained damage from like a distance where you don't even need to be in the fight. I think it's cool. I think it's neat to see. The free mind seer is so jarring, really hard to get used to it. It is, yeah, very, very difficult. Most of the beta of free mind seer was a thing, but only for 2 ticks of mind seer and a whole lot of casts. It's really hard to adjust if you get used to that. Yeah, Jake, I feel you in that. Oh, mind seer. I hope I don't. Whenever I say mind seer, hopefully I never called it a seer nightmare. Because remember last time I called it seer nightmare. But you get what I mean, though. But armor build is insane. The mage shower, by the way. I imagine, yeah. I need to try that out whenever the mage shower is back up on Holy. I think I wonder if they'll add more rewards to the mage shower. I kind of hope they do, because I think it'd be really cool to revisit the mage shower as some of these classes, make more guides on it. I think it'd be awesome. Hopefully I saved that one. Actually, I'm not 100%, so I'm just gonna put it to the side. Gotta go with this one. Switch. Up the stream. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait until... I'm not really giving it a go until I find out if there's rewards or not. If there is rewards, I definitely want to do it. Gonna be Viscerath first up versus Beast, locking him out of that fear, or locking him out of some kind of spell. I'm not really sure, but it's gonna be Mortal Cold. Does not have the Shroud. Tried to go for a bit of a tail swap, but I think Beast was just out of range as Viscerath tried to see if he could back up out of there for just a moment. Looking to catch up on a bit of healing, trying to avoid the entire demonic army. Gonna go for a big shadow versus Beastly. Fear to follow. He's gonna put Viscerath in a bit of a weird situation. Does get himself a big disintegrate. Maybe can fight through the defenses of Beastly, knocking it back, but he's gonna go for a big old port. Viscerath looking for a bit of recovery. Got himself fully recovered. Still trying to avoid the demons as best as possible. I think maybe just trying to see if he can focus down the main Felguard. but I think he definitely needs to get himself a go. Beastly got a cooldown skill back up very, very soon. Defensively, offensively, and when it comes to control. Viscera, does he not run Shroud? Oh, so apparently he only used Shroud. I'm not sure where he used Shroud, but apparently he did. Big deep breath into Beastly, does get himself the Dark back to follow. It's going to be a lockdown onto Viscera. Does drop down in Fear together with the Bonds of Fell, but Viscera's Fear is going to end up running him out of it. That's also going to be the Obelisk down on the ground. Viscera definitely should take down the Obelisk as soon as possible. Got himself plenty of healing behind the pillar. It looks like Beastly tried to see if he could reposition around him. I wonder if Beastly got mobility back up, because it feels like he's getting a little bit confident out here. Big blast with Disintegrate and a turn. Beastly having to go for a soul burn. That was a lot of damage for Viscera out of nowhere too. Just and randomly just ended up just getting some big burst out of Beastly. I mean, that was a lot of pressure at the very beginning. This is going to be a full nullified shroud for the Evoker, looking for a full recovery. And Beastly, I think, has him in a pretty good spot. Getting locked down on fire, which actually I think gives him access to quite a lot of spells either way. The Shadow as well as Demon Fire spells. Should have access to all of it. Gonna be Bonds of Fell. Viscera, does he want to burn it? He doesn't really want to, but he's got out in the open with that Tyrant. It's gonna knock up all the pets for just a second. And Beastly still has the Obelisk down as the Tyrant does get a bit of an angle on ya. I think Viscera may be in a bit of trouble. Beastly is just able to corral him away from him, just kind of pushing him away to the other side of the arena entirely as he's trying to avoid as many pets as he can. Not a lot of mana already. Got him some big master, but looks like the double Felguard does end up eliminating him. With Kevin Landers charging now, big spear onto Beastly, but a Mortal Coil running him out. That's going to be a port for Beastly, but can't really go anywhere at all. Just locked down next to Kevin. And the Warrior has it exactly where he wants. Yeah, Storm Bolted, Fury to Fall, could Zerker Rage out of it, unless he doesn't run Zerker Rage, which would have been weird. Bonds of Fall for Beastly, does get locked out on fire. Does Beastly go down here? Got himself the Dark back, Fury onto all these pets. Is going to be able to go for a bit of a drain versus Kevin. Kevin can't really interrupt it, but as long as Kevin can get himself a bit more sustained damage, he'll be okay. Beastly is under execute range. Bonds of Fall to follow him. Trying to see if I can walk Kevin out of it. Kevin got himself Reflect in case he needs to, but doesn't actually need it. He's going to charge out towards Parasite immediately. Why? He's got himself that enraged reach out. Parasite goes in for a backflip, gives him immunity from that Storm Bolt into a quick eye beam just to activate Metamorphosis. Stun to Kevin. Big break. That's going to be a lot of damage. Kevin can survive. He does barely survive the big blade dance. It looks like Parasite backing up out of there. Just got himself a hit and run. Looking to bleed out Kevin. Hitting him with an imprisoned Kevin if he has a way to break out of that prison. Potentially Zerker Rage out of this one. Has himself Reflect in case Parasite got any kind of damage for him. Able to at least reduce the magic damage taken. If not perfectly reflected, at least can kind of reduce it. Storm Bolted and Parasite does himself eventually should back it up out of the Kevin charging out. It's going to get him rooted up. It's going to be Demon Spawn in for Parasite for him. Kevin back it up out of the entirely. Full Metamorphosis sleeping on top of Kevin with a Thunderfall. I think he may just have him. And Parasite does end up eliminating him. With Diabolical is going to be up next. Has to find a way to fight through the Demon Hunter. Unable to really set up a proper set of ports and gateways. Does end up at least setting up a tiny little port. But maybe can use the Soul Burn ability to set up a proper gateway later. It's going to be dropping a big Obelisk. Moving away from Parasite. Obelisk and all these pets are going to be chasing after the Demon Hunter. Got himself a Shadow Mill to at least avoid all these pets together with a Blur. That's quite a lot of defenses committed actually. Maybe could have held on to that Blur and just used a Shadow Mill either. But he's going to try to see if he can try to maybe eventually retreat towards Diabolics, hitting him with an I-beam. Fellor joining in, but Fellor going in for the swing, missing Parasite though. Mortal Coil setting Parasite running right after he got to reconnect with Diabolics off of that Night Fae hunt ability. But it's going to be Parasite with a full immunity. Honestly, why he's got the hunt, I would imagine he would want to close that gap, but instead, he's actually going to retreat, see if he can pull another demon out of the Twisted Nether, slay it right there, consuming the demonic soul, getting him a lot of healing as well as damage. And Diabolics is gonna maybe have to find himself a bit of an angle versus Parasite. Definitely to cut him out, dropping down the Obelisk right next to him. Stunning Diabolics, massive cleave. That's he gonna take him down right here. Looks like Diabolics or Parasite already knows that Diabolics is gonna be running out of there. Blade Dancer falling, does he get it? Oh my god, almost gets the Blade Dance, but not quite. It's gonna be another demon spawning in. Parasite is eventually to immune that fear. It just needs a couple more cleaves versus Diabolics. The Warlock got himself the wall coalesced around him, using that to give him a bit more sturdiness. Parasite picking up a demonic soul, 20% more damage. Axe toss out in the open. Can the demons overpower Parasite right now? Got a full imprison on Diabolics. Maybe can go for a Sigil of Fear. Does go for a full stun on all the pets as well as the Warlock. Is that enough for the Demon Hunter to recover here? Needs himself one more vengeful retreat. Immune to CC for a short moment. Does Diabolics have anything here? Oh, Glaive Toss does end up taking him down. As Parasite narrowly does end up taking him though. With Chill Pulse around the corner, stun into Parasite, descending in the main pet. I think he may just end up playing it super steady and we'll just go in, execute, walk away from Parasite, just leave him over there, isn't he? Blind into Parasite, pulling him out of the darkness, letting that execute pop on him. That's so perfect. He did exactly what to do that. He went to walk in, hit him with an execute, blind him, leave him AFK, not let him recover health, and just let the execute do work. But then I had to grip him out of the darkness the last second. That is so good. DJ Flex up next as a survival hunter, trying to make sure you get Chilpas all tagged up. The magic damage Chilpas could actually deal with, all those fire damage from the grenades, the poison damage from the serpent stings, Chilpas could actually deal with that quite easily, but the physical damage of the mongoose bites, the flank and strike, kill commands, as well as the kill shots would actually be kind of difficult. Sending out a big old A-bomb towards DJ Flex, who is taking a little bit of damage from the A-bomb, definitely needs to find a way to control it as best as possible. Chilpas needs to play this safe. He needs to play it in such a way where he just stun locks DJ, puts a full army on him. He's going to stun lock him really early, and DJ forced to use a trinket right then and there. But now that DJ no longer has a trinket, Chilpas try to see if he can group him back in over and over, locks him down with a stun from the main part for just a second. Blind to follow. Does DJ just die to the execute? He may. Hold on a second. Is it going to be out of the execute range? Turtle shell to follow. Looks like the turtle shell with a battle match trinket. Maybe let him escape that execute window. Potentially. Chills has plenty of damage ready, plenty of survivability still left. DJ trying to go for a little bit of recovery. Battle Master Trinket not gonna really help you much. Scatter shot on Chilpas for a second. Trap on the pet, and Chilpas gonna go for the grip. I think as long as he got the execute, he'll be okay. But instead of the execute, he's just gonna go finishing the job, taking him out of the game. But Chicago gonna be up next, trying to go for a bit of an honor duel versus Chilpas. He gets to go for at least a couple of death strikes. So as long as Chilpas plays this carefully yet again, like he's done with everybody else here so far tonight, gets a full army of the dead, let the execute do work, I think he's going to be in a fantastic spot. But for Chicago, I don't really know. I think it's just really going to live or die by the procs. I think potentially that could be it. The Ascendance procs. If you get a lot of them, you'll live. You overpower him. If not much you can do about it. Chicago does back up behind the pillar for just a second, trying to get himself a little bit of healing. But it's going to be surrounded by the Mages of the Dead, the Skulker, a bomb walking in from left hand side as well, as it's also going to be a goal on the other side. As Chilpas waiting now, just kind of letting the pets do a lot of the work towards Chicago. But we'll have to wait potentially to get himself a full army of the dead, together with a dome coming down. Going to be a thunder. Big aesthetics procs for Chicago. Can Chilpas survive this? A lot of this damage is a mixture of physical and magical, but he can only deal with the magical portion, but the physical just rips right through his armor, just rips right through his defenses. Try to go for a bit of a heal. That AMS is going to help you only partially. We'll have to probably resort to an IBF really early on, maybe together with a Death Pact. But he does have the A-bomb coming back very soon. Apocalypse at the ready. Could go for the full pet empowerment. If you could just live long enough just to get all these pets up and running. AMS to try to help him give a bit of more survivability. May have to go for a Death Pact really early here. That's going to be all his pets actually surrounded inside of the static totem. Can't really escape it either. All his pets are just losing a lot of that value, having to chase back after Chicago. But they're going to be falling apart here in just a mere moments. Chilpas does go for the Death Pact here, so it looks like Chicago has been able to deal with the army of the undead for a while. It may just be okay. And Chilpas trying to get himself a little bit of heals. This is leaping over. Sunder, the Death Knight, maybe slow down here by quite a bit. Not a lot of help to really work, but Chicago, I think, has him exactly right where he wants him. Chilpas is going to have to play very carefully. Barely surviving. Doesn't have a lot of self-survivability at this point with 50% dampening. Blind, maybe can have himself a proper go. He just needs a full entire army. Apocalypse, maybe pets, maybe gargoyle. Just let the pets do work to Chicago. Maybe put an execute on him. Potentially, he's trying to go in for all in, man. Last Hail Mary. Maybe it'll be enough though. Maybe he can overpower. Oh, he does end up overpower Chicago. That stun got his full army of the dead coalescing around. Big execute. Let the pets keep adding pressure just to keep Chicago's health low enough for the execute to go off. That is exactly how you had to do it. As soon as you get a trick out of him, you have to live long enough just to get a proper setup. Let the pets do work. Let the execute do work. Stun on the Chilpas with a Shadow Crusher around the corner. Fully dotted up. At least Stormlux is a pure magical class. Unless they use a Mindbender, which can maybe do some technical slaps. But for the most part, he can survive a lot of the magic damage Stormlux got here. But Storm does have survivability. Can heal. And the dots are going to put pressure on Chilpas. He does get himself that Spell Warden. So random procs to Spell Warden are going to help him stay alive just a little longer. But if Stormblasts can get him out in the open, full silence, lock him down, he could be in a bad spot. That's going to be a lot of damage out of the Shadow Priest. But the Priest is surrounded by the army of the undead. Looks like went in for a silence onto the Valkyrie to try to reduce a lot of the damage that thing can do. But the Valkyrie is going to be able to get a bit of damage back to Stormblasts. Still surrounded. That's a big A-bomb transform. Big mage to the dead casting in your back. And they think the Valkyrie is trying to get a better angle on you, or did that thing go on? No, the Valkyrie just reset where Chillpills is at. Weird. Is that because they got silenced? He just like stopped doing anything at all. Storm actually going in for a disperse. Just trying to go for as much recovery as they can while behind the pillar. That is a little unfortunate. That's a pretty big defensive getting used, getting burned really early on. Chillpill's barely alive around the pillar. Can use the AMS in order to give himself a little bit of cover against the magic damage. Full Pez join in, full armor of the dead, stun lock by the main Pez. Has him in execute range. It does take him. He just needs to wait long enough until he can get the army to 4. Chills. What the hell is this? Actually bringing it back for his team. I didn't realize it. It was him and Val on that team too, man. Not giving Val a chance to play at all. That's unfortunate. Let's get another one going here, boys, yeah? Uno más. Chillpill's just overpowered, you think so? Chillpill's is pretty good at the Death Knight. I will give you that. Definitely pretty good at the Death Knight. Some would consider mildly, at least mildly good. Chicago Sega 5, Night King, let me know if you're ready. That's such a nice combo by him. Yeah, it is really, really strong. That execute together with the pets, if you get low enough, it's just, the pets are going to keep your health low, and it's just, there's not a lot of ways to play around it, especially as the dampening gets higher. It does give him a little bit of like a little bit of a survivability opportunity here. Like this, if you just live long enough, right? Stun lock you, where you're not doing damage to him, get the pets up and running, and then, depending on the class too, right? As an enhancement shaman, you're probably like, oh, I'm surrounded by the pets. I kind of got to escape out of this. I got to play defensively. Maybe you can start just slamming elemental blast into him. Maybe go counter-offensive. But it's one of those things where usually the enemy will be thinking about playing defensively, but they're already surrounded by the pets, and there's an execute, so playing defensively, countered by offensively pets. Execute is going to mean you're dead. It's one of those things where I think you just got to go super hyper counter-offensive. All Maelstrom, Air Blast, Lightning Bolt, kill him faster than he can kill you. You're basically on a clock. But yeah, let's queue. If Night King is ready, then I can queue him. I don't know if he's got a full 5-man ready to go or not. But if he does, let's get it back in here. Chicago trying to be honorable. Dude, met with dishonor. Was that dishonorable? Was it dishonor? It didn't look like anything was dishonorable about it, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. I was thinking for a second, what is that whole thing on the ground? But that's the guy who literally flew up. Literally blew up and acts like he don't know anybody. He does? Really? Okay. Let's do a lower to run. Because the boys on EU did not want to do a lower to run at all. They do not like it. Was just a like a Crisis EU Katski. Crisis EU, today's NA. Normally we have Rev on the NA doing some Destro. But I think Rev is just taking a break. He's just playing some Wrath. But you know, he can play whatever he wants. I got the flashbang like, man. Do a flashbang like yesterday? Nah. Well, I mean, on NA, I don't think it's as much of a flashbang because it's still like, I mean, it's evening time. But it's not like middle of the night, no, 2, 3, 1 in the morning as it is in the was in the EU. On the EU, it's like you just settled in, you're chilling, everything's dark mode, and then you just get a flashbang. On NA, it's still like evening time, right? It's like afternoon/evening or whatever. Well, I guess 7 PM is evening, but if you're more Pacific coast, it's still like afternoon, evening-ish. Give or take, 4-hour difference, 3-hour difference, you know? So I don't think it'll be too much of a flashbang yet. If we wait until like 2 or 3 in the morning, that's a whole other story. That's some Destro? Dude, me too. I think Destro is really fun to watch. I'm a big fan of Destro. Just something about Chaos Bolts and how you set it up. It's just super satisfying, man. Super satisfying. Alrighty, boys. Let's get ourselves another going here, yeah? Uno más. Switch. We got ourselves team 1 together with Chillpills going back at our Frosty Death. We got Dalbox walking in first as a Demonology Warlock. Kevin Landers, if you're in the back. We got us as Var as a Pally, as well as Viserith as the Evoker. And Ball is going to be first up versus Beastlock. A little bit of a rematch between the two Warlocks. Beastly no longer playing the Tyrant build, actually dropping that nether portal entirely. Diabolix is going to lock down both of them, got Obelisk down, so all the pets are fully empowered. Diabolix is able to get a Tyrant up and running a little bit faster as he got double Fell Guard onto Beastly. Beastly could be under a ton of pressure. Diabolix backing up out of there, trying to see if he can cut out the pets, and even going to go for a fear on one of the main pets, summoning up even more Demon Dog as a beast. Is basically how much to burn through all his defenses. He got wall used, dark back, everything. Diabolix still got plenty of defenses to work with. Has reflect back versus Beastly in case Beastly sends anything at him. But Diabolix had no help whatsoever. Maybe in a bit of trouble. Definitely sees defenses. Is going to go for that Soul Burn Hellstone. And that's it. He just doesn't even play press wall. Now he uses dark back. That's actually... Does Beastly have any more survivability? Does he still have the Warlock Hellstone? Because he's under a ton of pressure. Could be going down at any moment, actually. I think it's over. Oh! And Diabolix was able to overpower him with his pets. Did not have a Hellstone at that point, and we already burned through your wall as well as a Dark Pack. I think maybe Dark Pack was coming back up at the last second, but it's super unfortunate. Stormlux is going to be up next as the Shadow Priest versus Diabolix. Stun locked by the axe toss of the main pet. Lux going in with a big PI, Vamp Embrace, and Diabolix had no help whatsoever. Reflect is up. Storm is going to go for a couple of void balls. Does get a silence. Oh, but as the Warlock tries to see if he can reposition, is going to get executed through and through. Actually, just going to parks right under that like slab of tombstone too. Almost like he's trying to crawl under there. He's like, yep, that's my home now. Literally going to the grave. Kevin Landers is going to be up next, getting slammed down by a Shadow Crash. So as long as he's careful and can push in quite a bit of sustained pressure versus Storm, it's going to be a fantastic spot. Mind Games can't really do much about it. There's going to be a Mind Game stopping Kevin for just a moment. He's going to hit with a fear. Unless he was able to remove the dots. Was that like a normal fear or was that like a horrified fear? I'm not even sure. Mind control into the warrior. It looks like Kevin is just going to get put behind the corner. Why he's got himself that enrage regen, but looks like he still had the angle to at least get himself one charge, one bloodthirst. Maybe helps him get a little bit of recovery. Stormlux though has a lot of docile suppression onto Kevin, trying to layer up a bunch of DPs on him. Back to back is going to be a bit of a emergency heal for Stormlux with an Aegis proccing as it gets super low. Fear into Kevin does an Berserker Raging out of it. Has himself plenty of sustain, plenty of damage, as long as he can get himself a proper kick. Missing that kick, and Storm is able to go for some offensive pressure. Full damage. Oh, and the Shadow Priest does end up collapsing everything onto Kevin. But the Shadow Priest may be in a bit of trouble. Var is going to be up next. Storm just going in for as much self-healing as possible. Vamp Embrace used really early on, so he should be able to get himself a lot of healing, hopefully, off of the damage he does. But that stun lock, Var got himself not even full wings, not even committing full wings versus Stormlux, actually denying the full wings yet. I guess choosing to use them a little bit later. But if you had full wings, I think it would have just won that game. But maybe he's trying to save wings for the next guy, thinking the Shadow Priest is low. I don't necessarily need to commit that cooldown just yet. And that is something people need to start learning how to do in 5V5 1v1s. That does help you a ton. Pacing your cooldowns, trying to make sure you're measuring your cities against the class you're going up against versus the class you're going to be going up next. But Var is having to burn wings either way. The full bubble at the ready. Storm does get himself a disperse. As soon as that bubble is over, could be pretty bad for him. Storm does have a trick and stun until Var. Does he have a trick? And he does. Mind Game's made to fall off of the fear. Oh my god, wait. Shadow Priest may just have him. Oh. And Storm absolutely given the chance to play the game for once, going up against a good set of classes that he could fight against. But next up is going to be Chillpill's immediate silence to follow. Does not have any more defenses, no trick and available. Kind of just getting put in the blender as the grippy hand is just going to rip right through you. That claw ripping right through your defenses. Do you have any more healing? I think it's over. My goodness, that is rough. That's a rough one, man. That's a rough one, but the Shadow Priest did do work. I guess the melee classes was able to recover him. I think if Var walked in there with full wings off of that stun, he would have been able to eliminate the Shadow Priest. And that's just one of those things like, yeah, he's super low. I feel like I should be able to counter it. It is a Shadow Priest. I'm a red. Usually we have a pretty good go against them. That's usually that's likely what Var was thinking. But yeah, give him a chance to play him. That's a fair point. You did give him a chance to play him. Stun onto Chicago, knock and Chillpill's back for just a moment. That is a Frosty Death Knight, so no longer do you have the full pet undead unholy army to overpower the enhancement shaman, which actually should give enhancement, I think, a little bit more of a breathing room here. As the last goes right through, Chillpill's at least can sacrifice his main pet in order to give himself a little bit of health recovery, but that root is going to stop him in place for just a moment. Got himself a little bit of cooldowns, lots of potential pressure, silence on the Chicago, back-to-back obliterates with the remote winter stun lock, and the Chicago does trick out of it with a wall, trying to see if they can go for as much recovery as they can. Still a big blitz coming through for Chillpill's, absolutely just massacred Chicago, but they are able to recover, able to stabilize and stay afloat throughout this burst. Can Chilpas commit any more damage? Looks like he's gonna have to back up. He's waiting 30 seconds until Pillar Frost is back up. The burst damage of a Frost Death Knight is quite brutal, but the sustained damage is not quite there. So he's gonna have to wait it out a little bit longer, unless Death Knight start playing like a dual build at some point. But even then, I don't really know if that'll be enough though, honestly. Like Nasa by Chicago, it's going to be a knockback as soon as Chilpas breaks out of that stun with that IBF, just freezes his blood within his veins, whatever blood left over. I don't even know if Death Knight's icy blood? Maybe? I have no idea of the anatomy of a Death Knight. Don't know how all that works. Who knows? Gonna be Remorseless Winter onto Chicago. As Chicago going in for a couple blasts, big yellow blasts with lightning bolts onto Chilpas, able to mitigate a lot of it though. Interrupted on nature, maybe in a bit of trouble. It's gonna be blind. Does Chilpas have himself a big obliterate to follow? Got himself the grippy hand, and not even the grippy hand that took him out. It was just the howling blast that did the work there. Parasite up next, big execute onto Chilpas, breaking through his defenses with that essence break. But it's going to be the dome dropping down for Chilpas, reducing as much chaotic damage as possible. That dome helping reduce 50% of all that damage taken up until a certain absorb timer. And Parasite does get Chilpas locked down. Full set of sigils with a hunt to follow. Big damage. Chilpas is going to get hit by the full blade dance. Not much you can really do about it. Trying to see if he can go for a bit of recovery with Death Strikes, but I don't think Parasite is going to give him a chance though. Does have a barely any health. Looking for whatever recovery he's got. But I think the Demon Hunter may just have him here. Still continuing to go for Death Strikes. Does get himself a proper stun onto Parasite. Then it's going to be a Pillar of Frost as well. Silence to follow. Parasite could potentially be in trouble, but does get himself a demon spawning as well. There's no way to lose that. And does get a demon to explode right next to Chilpas, taking him out. What's up next? Is it going to be Viscerath? It is Viscerath. Going for a sleep versus Parasite. Trying to go for a big shatter. Does Viscerath have himself a proper go here? Trinket, Eternity Surge. Does he have himself the big go with a Fire Breath? Does go for a Fire Breath, but I don't know if that really connected. Deep Breath right after, but he doesn't really get the most value. Is it going to be Viscerath trying to go for a little bit of a self-heal out to follow? But Parasite is able to avoid him entirely. That was actually a lot of damage out of the Evoker. And now the cooldowns are down though, but still disintegrates, and the procs are doing a lot of work. Wait, disintegrates by themselves are absolutely just melting down. Parasite does go for the immunity. My goodness. Wait a second. Viscerath could just take him out right then and there, huh? That is actually insane. Oh my goodness. Viscerath trying to see if he can find himself a better angle though. Demon spawning in for Parasite, which is perfect, letting him recover. I-beam to follow, should be able to get a lot of recovery. Massive cleave onto Viscerath, big blade dance to follow. Viscerath got a little bit of healing, looking for more recovery. That Sigil of Fear is going to lock you down for just a moment though. Parasite looking to get a lot more resources. Big hunt, just charging right into your back unless Viscerath got a heal. Ooh, and Parasite does end up taking you out. Super unfortunate. Look at the most kills there. Storm with that Shadow Priest. Let's go, dude. That Shadow Priest actually did a lot of work there. Did really well against the melee classes, except for the class that counters casters, the Death Knight. But Shadow Priest, dude, even though they nerfed them, they're still very deadly. Are they getting more deadly? I don't know if 1001 is... 1001 is more like a... 1001 is more of like 1005 is more of like a PvE changes. I don't think it ends up helping him that much, does it? Yeah, Death Knight is scary for sure. Let's get us another going, boys, yeah? Yeah, 1005 seems like it'll be more a PvE patch rather than a PvP patch. But I could be wrong on that one. Do the duel? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, my guy. We'll get up and running as soon as I know we got groups. Almost at 100, dude. EU was able to break away past 100, but NA is catching up very quickly. It's better than non-DKs. Don't understand when people use lassos and enhance so trash. Want to try it? I think it can be good, but it really depends, right? I think you need to make sure you get yourself like some kind of like a big nature proc, nature damage hit in order to be able to make it work. That, or you need like ghost wolves and get yourself good to alley wolves and then go for a big stun, because it does a lot of damage. I think what you would want to do is go for a big go when they're stunned, or use it defensively, or use lasso defensively. Because like if you just try to back up out of there, hit them with a lasso, or walk away. Just let the channel happen. That, or they try to escape you. You don't have mobility, you can lasso while you're walking to them. It's very like, because Enhance has all the other abilities you can press that can do a lot of damage as well. Lasso could just be there for like a lockdown where you need CC, but like you wouldn't use it for damage in a way. You know what I mean? It's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one. Huge Chilpas group is ready? Okay. I can do that. What are we do now? We've done hook point. Hook point we haven't done. Do 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 do. Ba-da-bum. But yeah, I have no idea, Chicago. I wonder if there's like if somebody has like a guide on exactly how to do it perfectly. Like when would they use it? Because I know people sometimes do use it, but it's like very it is limiting. I feel like for Elemental Shaman, it's perfectly fine because Elemental has like, you know, you just put in flame shocks and your lava bursting, but you're not really lightning bolting. So it kind of takes up the space of a lightning bolt while you're collecting a bunch of procs. But for enhance, you can use other abilities to build up Maelstrom, which can build your other abilities and procs. And when you're chain lightning it, you're not really using other abilities in between. So it may just be one of those things where it's like, it's more situational rather than for just damage. It's like very situational. It's like when you got nothing else really going on. The only way being good is for pills. Yeah, I think it's very similar to like the Outlaw Rogue Killing Spree ability. A lot of people think of Killing Spree, oh, it's so many cooldown, it's supposed to do a lot of damage. We don't really use it for damage. We use it when we have no energy, or if we're trying to break out our roots, or maybe kind of chase after a class when we have no more mobility. But that's it. But it's really strong when you use it for that. If you use it as a filler, it's actually really good filler when you got no energy. It is fantastic. Roots, fantastic for breaking roots. And in Channel 5, it's going to have a more of a defensive playstyle to it. So I don't think that defensive is going to make it into the live game, but that could be interesting. Could be cool. Do Twitch. The bridge, we can maybe do the bridge after this if we still have a group. Gonna be team 1 with BC locks up first. BC and Diabolics have faced each other tonight a lot. This gives BC an opportunity to have yet another go versus Diabolics. Can they do it though? Fear onto the main Felguard immediately as Diabolics is out there messing around with Demon Doggers. That's gonna be double lobby, I think, for both of them. Or at least an obelisk for Beastly. The Warlocks don't even break each other's obelisks, so it's actually interesting. Diabolics is going to lock down back-to-back stuns, is rotating defenses, as that is going to be double Felguard, is going to go for the Axos, as Beastly trying to see if he can summon up another Tyrant. Devin needs to get himself a Tyrant as soon as possible. Diabolics got him to reflect, but it's going to be reflected the worst timing ever. He's had to reflect, but the Mortal Coil connects either way though. Diabolics backing up out of there. Full Tyrant at the ready, got himself the Obby as well. He's still surrounded by the army of the demons either way though. Does Beastly? Beastly is also surrounded by the army of demons, but Beastly's health is in a much worse spot right now. Both of them are still holding on to a wall. They're both so close in terms of like cooldowns for one another, but Beastly is just a hair behind compared to Diabolics. It could be any one of those differences, like a slide bit of play, one of them summons Demon Doggers more than the other, maybe a little bit of gear differences. Any one of those things could really make the difference. But Diabolics, I see him often kind of hanging around behind the pillar, and it doesn't have too many demons attacking him. Maybe like the Felguard from BC, but that's really about it. While BC usually has like Demon Doggers on him and a Felguard and a bunch of other pets back here, like those Demon Doggers really didn't make a difference. Demon Doggers exchange. Diabolics doesn't reflect. If you use reflect at the right time, he could potentially just deny any kind of CC for BC and reverse it as well. Darkback getting used is going to go for the Axos, locking up BC for just a second. Got himself a couple of Demon Bolts as well. Is going to back up out of there. BC surrounded by the pets. Diabolics backing up out of there. Is going to be summoning random imps in there as well. Is that a big imp or is that like the... I can't tell if it's a normal sized imp or if that's one of the bigger imps. I actually cannot tell. Gnomes are literally the size of an imp. Mortal Coil into Beastly does drop into fear onto Diabolics, but Diabolics has no demons on him. Beastly is surrounded by demons. Demon Doggers going for the Dread Bites. Felguard spinning on him. Axos locking him out. Beastly could be in a bad spot. Diabolics hoping to maybe take it right here. If he can get himself another set of Dread Hounds as well, he will be in a perfect spot. He just needs a couple of more Demon Doggers. Beastly needs to find a way to separate away from the pets as soon as possible. Maybe even use support, while Diabolics is just using mobility to kite out the pets of Beastly. BC does go for a big defensive. Darkback, maybe Drain Life. Maybe that gives him just enough survivability if you use the Soul Burn with it, but I think it may just be over. Does he have a more like Hellstone? Oh! Diabolics' pets, man. I think it's just his ability to kite the pets. And his ability to maintain Demon Doggers on cooldown on BC with pressure on the other guy and avoids pressure off of you. It is just enough to help you win. Could be a little bit of a gear difference. But as far as I see it, it looked like Diabolics is just a hair more aggressive. Chicago charging out, trying to make sure that the guy gets at least a proper honorable duel. Let's see some sort of proper setup. That is a bigger imp, actually. You can actually see the difference between those things. So, no, that is a bigger imp. But I like how the big imp is the size of a gnome. Gonna be a knockup by Chicago using the thunderstorm to kind of send Diabolicus flying. but it's going to be a full set of demons together with a Tyrant double Axos. It is going to be a grounded total for just a second for Chicago. Has an obelisk right next to him, but it doesn't eliminate it. May think about eliminating the obelisk because they'll reduce a lot of the pressure that those demons put on you. That all the extra auto attack speed, it is going to crack through defenses eventually. Demon Dog is charging out for Diabolics. Lots of pets. Chicago is absolutely surrounded. At least got to go to put himself behind the pillar, but Diabolics is going to push in. Does he have a Mortal Coil? Because he has a Mortal Coil, he could be in a fantastic spot. Getting knocked up in here. Double stun totem to follow. Could be really bad for Diabolics. Absolutely lucked out. It's going to end up actually eliminating one of those totems. It looks like stun onto Chicago. I think it may be over. Demon Dog is to follow. Oh my god. Demonology, man. And that's the demonology after the Demon Dog nerf. And the Fellstorm nerf too. They did buff the damage of the Tyrants though by quite a bit. Tyrant is a lot more impactful, but the Fellstorm ability, a lot of the damage was taken out of the Fellstorm, given to the Tyrant. And the damage of Demon Doggos also has been reduced by a little bit, but they're still super effective. They're still very, very strong. Look at that Dread Bite, man. I mean, Stormlex is basically at half health after the Dread Bite. And that's a big old obby. All those Demon Doggos, every time they auto attack, have a chance to bite again at you. Storm does have a big PI though. Big damage of the ready. Diabolics with the shield, and it's gonna back up out of there. Storm is just surrounded by the army of demons. Just gonna have to back up for a second and just go for a bit of reheal as another set of Demon Dog is charging out. Every time they auto attack it, that Dread Bite could be deadly. Does go for the fear, separating demons away. It could be rough for him. The Storm does need to go for a bit of health recovery. It's gonna go for a Fade, which is gonna be a nice little bit of defenses. Very short cooldown, and it is pretty impactful. Axos onto Storm as they're making their approach. Diabolics just trying to maintain the army as best as they can. It's going to be an obelisk down. If they can get themselves another set of demons, that's going to be Demon Doggos charging in as well. All of them have the auto attack speed buff. Could be really bad for Storm. Having to go for Disperse. That's a pretty big defensive getting used right there. So Diabolics, this is fantastic. But Diabolics does have a couple of dots on him though, so Storm is at least maintaining the pressure. But the passive damage, look at his health, is barely moving. You do have passive pressure, but you just need a little bit more off of that. That, or you need to start cleaving those pets and maybe you can get that psychic link damage as well into Diabolics. Don't really know if you're running that talent or not. Full Mind Game Zone to the Warlock though, could be in a bit of a bad spot. Does go for a pretty big heal. It's going to be a big DPS, but Storm is not in condition to really fight this either. Absolutely surrounded by the pets, trying to go for big executes, but Diabolics barely survives it. Oh my goodness, this guy has a Warlock House right now. Soulburn House Zone would help him out a lot. DJ Flex, I think, trying to give him a bit of an honor duel by the looks of it. I think he's trying to give him as much of an honor duel as he can, but it's got to be a kill shot. Oh my god. I think that's what DJ Flex just kind of stood still there for a second. It's like, well, I'm going to give you an opportunity here. And then he sent out the Demon Doggos. So DJ was like, alright, kill shot. Just done. VAR and DJ at least giving each other a bit more of an honorable bow. Love to see it, man. Love to see them honor bows. A death to my own death? That happens sometimes as a Shadow Priest, man. It's a risky playstyle. It's a risky playstyle that really does embrace the insanity. Like the stat of insanity of a Shadow Priest. DJ just trying to lay all the traps for VAR. Seeing him break out of that trap with the Hand of Freedom. Charges out, trying to see if he can still run him down in place. It's going to be trick out of DJ. Having to play it very defensively as VAR does actually get it. Counter pressure pretty hard by DJ. Super low on health. In that execute range, forces to use a bubble. Immunities have both been expended for both classes. As VAR gets put on ice for just a second, does shrink it out of it, trying to get super aggressive with DJ, but he's going to try to see if he can cover himself with his survival of the fittest, 20% damage reduction, which is going to be mad for him. Mad good amount of defense. But VAR having to back up out, hoping to build a little bit of holy power, using that holy power on Word of Glory, but needs to be looking for a window where he can maybe go for a blind and the stun onto DJ. And DJ just trying to let the sustained damage do work, rooting VAR out in the open, stun to follow. Does VAR get aggressive here? Got himself a pretty decent proc. Big Wake of Ashes into a Blade of Justice. It does end up taking it down. It was perfect for that man. Perfect go. Perfect good play right there. I love seeing stuff like that, man. It was well done. Very, very well done. That's what you needed. You either need to find a moment to just find yourself a break to blast through him, to blast through the competition, or not. And Parasite just AFK. They're literally asleep. Parasite literally asleep. Can Parasite go through a full entire team one? They got a Warrior, they got a Pally, they got a Demon, Evoker, I was gonna say Demon Hunter, and a Deathlet to fight through. VAR taking a lot of damage from the I-Beam really early on though. Is Parasite gonna go for that hit and run strat where you just unlock VAR, maybe with a Essence Break and then Blade Dance? Because if he plays it very, very carefully, he could potentially get him. But you gotta play it super carefully though. Not a lot of health is gonna be gotten at 45% dampening 8 minutes into the duel. So if he played super carefully, maybe avoid CC with eventual retreat, he'll be in a fantastic spot. But it's really down to how he uses mobility. Stun, surprising VAR. VAR goes in for a trinket. Eventual retreat immediately in case VAR goes in for a Hodge. I'm not sure if he used a Hodge there or not. I think the UI used to be able to track if he has a Hodge or not. But I don't think it does. I don't even know if VAR is playing blind either. Going to be a big metamorphosis. Blind by VAR, able to escape Parasite. Does not want to burn a trinket as he sees the Paladin plays more defensively than anything. And if VAR does still hold on to a Hodge, maybe he can still lock down Parasite, potentially. Playing it super defensive though. This is going to be a hunt attempt by Parasite, trying to find a better angle. Can't quite do it. Slowing down VAR into a big assist break. Big blade does follow. Does get him super low. Shoulder bit is the backup of VAR, giving him a little bit more survivability. Double glaive toss is thrown in. VAR is able to recover a little bit more health. I think with a Battle Master Trinket, maybe he can go for healing with the wings being up. Stun into Parasite, immediate trinket. VAR was already backing up out of the expected. Wait, big damage to the Parasite. Does he take him? Oh my god, it's so close. Are you kidding me? That was actually so close. VAR almost turned it on him. Are you kidding me? VAR almost turned it around on that guy. I can't believe it. What did you hit him with? Was it just like a proc and a wake of ashes? And the man just went down? Or almost went down? That was nuts. Parasite just trying to control the Evoker as best as he can. Got himself the I-beam. Evoker did use the trinket earlier. I'm not really sure where. But Parasite is going to go for the big hunt. If he can go for big damage versus Sereth, he could give himself a lot of recovery. Sleepwalk onto the Demon Hunter. Does use eventual retreat in order to immune it. Trying to play it very carefully. Could potentially use Darkness here. It is going to be a Sigil of Flame onto Viscera. It does give Parasite lots of resources to work with. But I think maybe wait until the next stun lock wombo combo he's got going on. Maybe with the I-beam. How to kill the no RNG build. How to like the no RNG. Dude, VAR, that was actually... What'd you hit him with at the end there? You almost got him too. Like if one of your abilities quit, I think it would have been over. That was nutty. That was so good. Parasite going for a Vengeful, trying to avoid any CC. Stun into Viscera. Blade Dance right after. Does he have a stun to follow? That's going to be Viscera. Backing up out of the big mastery. Wants to go in, but does get hit with an Imprison. As Parasite rooted out in the open. Big Shatter. Parasite trying to be very careful. Nullifying shot for Viscera. Does have a wall? No, he doesn't. But if he has himself the hover ability, he could potentially hover back over to Parasite. He just needs to get him locked down for just a moment. Just needs to find that good angle versus him. Can he do it though? Parasite just throwing the glaive just to throw the guy down or slow him down. Can Viscera come back here actually? Or Parasite rather. I think it was Parasite the one that was on the back foot, but he does get a trinket out of Viscera. Double glaive to follow, hoping to get a demon proc if possible. And is going to try to see if he can reposition to the other side of the pillar. Viscera got himself, I think, a pretty decent position. He just needs to get Parasite out away from a pillar. If he can do so successfully, then he'll be in a great position, great spot. Just need to get him out in the open, hit him with a sleep maybe. Big cleave by Parasite, massive cleave onto Viscera. Big aspect to follow, does use Virtual Retreat in order to give himself a little bit of survivability and immunity to CC. But Viscera did go very self-healing, very self-preservation focused. Parasite backing up out of the for just a second. Does get himself a demonic proc. Good potential to slay the demon, but looks like he's going to hold on to it for a heal later. Does get an interrupt out of Viscera. Metamorphosis to follow. That's going to be a big disintegrate. Viscera able to slow down Parasite by a little bit. Does go for a big breath. Got himself a Battle Master Trinket, but I don't really know if he can really go for much self-healing. Big deep breath to follow. Try to see if he can reposition, but Parasite is on the chase on the prowl. Trying to see if he can take him down. Does get to him. With Chilpo's going to be up next is Unholy Death Knight. Can Parasite. He's going to need some procs, man. Darkness down. Does end up getting himself big cleave versus Chilpo's. Needs to be able to get himself a better angle and may potentially go for Blade Dance, but looks like he's just gonna retreat away from the demonic army. I think also use the Shadow Mode there as well, but a stun lock with an execute, I think it's over. Yeah, there's no way Parasite brings it back there. That was a close one though. That was very well done. Parasite was bringing it back for the team little by little. This didn't work. Well done. Oh my god. Lock vs. Lock is watching Yu-Gi-Oh! In real time. True. 80k Justicars into a 56k Judgment? That is nutty. Wait, Justicars? Hold on, you're using that as a finisher now? Wait a second. Are you using Justicars now, Pallies? Is that what we're doing now, boys? Apparently that's like a PvE single target build too, Justicars. Or am I thinking of a... I'm thinking of Justicars as like the ability that does damage but also heals you, right? And does more damage if the enemy is stunned. Or am I thinking about something else? You could tell there was you could tell he was just over the running. He was just overrunning. Oh, over the running. Oh, okay. I see. Give him for 40k. That's nutty. That's actually pretty cool. No RNG build. That's interesting. Apparently there was some kind of like a PvE Red Pally build. Not a lot of people play it in like the logs, but in the guide for Red Palion, like Wowhead, apparently that is a playstyle. It's used just cause for single target. For PvE, I imagine it's a better playstyle for PvP, but apparently it's a playstyle for PvE as well. But I guess you could either go like what, Templars or that, or to maximize the damage. So I guess there you could kind of like maximize the damage of like your other filler abilities and just pick up like a stronger finisher and just not put any points into Templars and just put points everywhere else. I guess that would be the playstyle. I guess that would be the reason for it. I never thought about it. It's good for PvE because you need to be healed. It's good for PvE because you don't need to be healed. Is that why? Does anybody at all use it whatsoever though? Or is it just like, technically it's there, but nobody really uses it, although it's not terrible, the numbers, but like, you don't actually realistically use it for any reasons. I just don't know, you know what I mean? Nope, okay. Yeah, I need to help pick it up and craft. Wait, hold on. I need help deciding what to craft for 418. Lariat, easily. I don't even know what class you are, but Lariat. Is it Templars, but it's better in PvE? It's there, but Templar is better for PvE. Okay. Yeah. I was kind of hoping maybe that would have been a cool build. I would have loved to try it, man. You know? But maybe if I give it a go, maybe I'll end up finding it. Because I don't know, there is technically a better Shadow Priest build. But I play this other Shadow Priest build that's like a proc spike build. That's a lot more procy. And I feel like for me, it does more damage. Like I try to play the other build, but I don't know if my gear is right, set up well. Maybe the other build with the gear set up and the stats is a lot better. And it technically is the high performing Shadow Priest build. But this other build I got actually does better for me. Like I can reach like what, 80k DPS and AoE. With this other one I reach 120k burst and 100k basically sustain. With the other one I could do like 25k single target, the other do 30k single target. And I just gotta try them. I play how it's supposed to, as the guide says. I do the better build and I just get more less. I play my build that I was playing and I got more. And I'm pressing the same buttons in exactly the same way. Like the logic doesn't change for either one. So it could be one of those where I'm just really bad and I'm playing it wrong. Chill's group needs one. Where's the group listed in? Let's see. Is it raids Shadowlands? Yo boys, we got ourselves LFG. Let's give Chill's like 5 minutes to see if they can find a group. Otherwise you can maybe call it here. Because we did have ourselves a lot of games this evening, man. Plus I'm also getting kind of hungry. And making... My shoulders are going to be 2 mil per dungeon. Wait. My shoulders are going 2 mil per dungeon of 402 item level. Really? Wow. And making them 418 will make them do 20k single target. But I do like 160 or 200k single target. So you don't need a Lariat then? Have a counter argument. I feel like Lariat is still really, really good. I get what you mean, but I think Lariat at the end of the day is still probably the highest value item you can make. Am I wrong? One more game? Definitely, man. No one more game. I'm down, man. I'm down as long as you can get a +1. What's up, Fuzzy? That can do, man. But with a build that can do more damage, I don't have the enchants yet or gems. Really? You just have some enchants and gems, man. Even if they're like low value. Better to have some than none. I'll just make Justicars upgrade to Templars. Or they make Justicars an upgrade to Templars. Oh, I see what you mean. I don't think that they would. Because then Templars that heals you also, it would be really strong, but it also redefines the ability entirely. I kind of like that they have a separate ability because then it can balance it differently. I also don't think they're trying to make Paladin a playstyle where you do damage and you get a heal, unless you pick specifically talents that do that. You know what I mean? The duck is vibing to the music. You like it? Let me get you my mix, man. I like this song in particular. There we go. I try to keep it updated whenever I can. But I see what you mean though, Val. Yeah, I think it'll be convenient for sure. Boys, we're looking for a +1. Troopers needs one more competitor. Raids Legacy. Looking for a +1 if you guys want to join in. More than welcome to. Troopers good to one. Yep, needs only one more. You're not wrong. The later it is a free craft from you can double the perks of being a JC. So you're like asking for a second craft. Yeah, I think you should just follow your gut then. It looks like you... Wait, hold on. Question. Is there any other, like, embellishment that warlocks can, or casters can, or... are you warlock? I'm guessing when you say 160k, 200k for 5 targets, you're on your warlock, right? Yeah? So, oh, you got one more. Awesome. We got one more, boys. Uno más. Easy. Is there any other embellishments? that your class can use. Because like if there's like any other embellishments for like secondary stats, just use the shoulders due to them being a crit mastery, now the added damage for them is free. And having that added damage on them is free. Is it what is I'm not familiar with the shoulders for clothies. So I have no idea if that is your embellishment. I only know like the boots, the cowl for leather. I know that there's a helm with bleed, belt with frostfire damage for plate. And I think there's pants and boots for male. MS of the blue, I'll link them in general. Okay, yeah, I just have no idea. It's just not something I'm familiar with at all. That's why I was like, is there any what embellishments do you guys even run? Because I just don't even know. Haven't looked into them. Let's do... What arena do we do, chat? The Grand? Finish where it started. Wait. I did the Grand, but if you guys decline... Okay, the Grand does. I was going to do Blade's Edge, but the Grand. We'll do the Grand. Most talents only affects TV and AF, but the talents we have is Vic Justicars off to the side. But imagine like if you go Justicars, you take every other talent that buffs builders, right? So you buff your builders and you take Justicars, which does by itself decent damage for like 1 talent point. Where for Templars and all the other stuff, you got to take all the talent points to upgrade their output. But if you take Justicars, it does a decent amount of damage for 1 talent point. Is how I'm looking at it, right? Because if you're taking like Justicars, the amount of damage it does 1 talent point. Templars, how much damage it can do maximum, divided by the amount of talent points it takes. I think Justicars is a pretty big value on its own, isn't it? And you buff all your other builders. But you may be right, maybe just Templars is a lot better in overall, like more value. I'm just kind of trying to think of like an damage and have a chance to do it. Yeah, I think Emma's does something pretty good then. Split? I think it's not a bad one. Is that what's recommended? That seems pretty good. 30,000? If it procs often enough, yeah, I say do it. If it's like a trinket with a proc, like 30% proc rate, maybe. Switch. Gonna be Chicago versus Viserys. Viserys surrounding himself with the shroud immediately as Chicago bailing out of the root pretty early on, dodging the fiery breath of Viserys as the evoker charging out, got himself the full dragon rage with big mastery at the ready. Has a lot of potential damage, literally all the different. He's literally surrounded with the power of all the different, I was about to say covenants, but all the different Dragonflights, but unable to really maximize a lot of that damage, really just kind of backing away from Chicago, looking for a bit of a retreat. Does go, I think, for a big boar. She'd be able to get a bit of CC on Chicago off of that oppressive roar. Next sleep could be really good for him, but instead going in for more of a damage build, I think. Disintegrate, potentially if he gets enough proc, the Disintegrate could be big, and Chicago does have to spend a lot of Maelstrom and the mana in order to get himself a bit of recovery. Sleep does go for the grounding totem, so it is going to ground the sleep effect. Viserys does have a knockback for Chicago. Does he have mobility though? Does Chicago have him locked down? Because that is a pretty big shatter. Chicago with a massive ascendance, big dragon, deep breath. That's gonna be Chicago with a trick and trying to see if he can go for big one strikes. Interrupted Viserys on the red, but still have access to all the other schools of cast. Sleepwalk for a last second. Chicago does get him with the CC. Viserys able to recover a lot of health though. That was a rough situation for just a second, but the Evoker was able to get by it. I don't know if the Fire Breath was able to connect or not, but does have a big Disintegrate. Chicago going in for an interrupt. Viserys has access to red and green spells still either way. Big Disintegrate on Chicago, going for the Battle Master Chicken. Sleepwalk to follow, nullifying Shroud right after, at least immuning himself from any kind of CC. Stun Totem does nothing to him. Living Flame with that wall, able to get a bit of recovery. Chicago purging every single one of those Shroud stacks as the Sleepwalk comes through either way. Does Viserys have big damage? Massive burst, potentially good go. Massive shadow for Chicago. Got himself a little bit of a wall here. Fire Breath right after. Big damage is going to put a pretty big down on Chicago. And if Viserys can apply a couple of Disintegrates, those, if he is running the right talent, those fiery dots will actually do even more damage to Chicago. They'll get more ticks in the process and more value overall. As Viserys trying to get himself a little bit of recovery, knock up on the Chicago, got himself the big mastery to go. Chicago looking to lock him down as best as they can. Got the Ghost Raptors onto Viserys. That's going to give him a lot of healing to work with. As long as they get the Maelstrom, they'll be okay. As Viserys slowed down by the Ghost Raptors as well as by the Totem, can't really do much about it. Does want Chicago to walk out in the open while they have the big mastery buff. But it looks like Chicago was able to avoid it entirely. Interrupted Viserys on the green, though. It's going to go for a big Fire Breath either way. Deep Breath to follow. Chicago under a ton of pressure. Does Viserys have enough to interrupt him? Looking for a big damage. It's going to be an interrupt on the nature. Chicago may just go down to the Disintegrate. Is it enough, though? Chicago trying to see if he can survive it. Viserys does not have Disintegrate anymore. Trying to go for a big Living Flame. I don't think was able to really get it to connect. Chicago just sees just a little bit more damage, just a little bit more output. Does get to root down the Evoker for just a moment as it looking for recovery. but they're having to use all that mana without the Maelstrom. Not able to get Maelstrom enhancing benefits at all. Because normally you want your heals to be enhanced with Maelstrom. That's how you get the big healing. That's how you get the big value. Avoiding that landslide stun, which is massive for them. Going for the quick interrupt. Gonna be a fire breath for Viscerath. But looks like he's just gonna have to cancel it. Chicago, while they got the pillar, while they could go behind the pillar, they got into the perfect spot. Viscerath definitely needs to find a way to coax Chicago out in the open. Coax him out, stun lock him, sleep him, whatever they need to, blast him out with a draconic energy. And Chicago looks like maybe building up for a little bit of damage. Needs Maelstrom. Lots of Maelstrom in order to get himself Ghost Raptors back up. But is going to go for a bit of cooldown reduction as well. Interrupted Viscerath on the blue magic does get hit with a fire breath though. Deep breath to follow. It's a lot of damage, avoiding that stun entirely. Chicago out in the open though, as it's going to be turning surge for Viscerath. Potentially big damage for the Evoker. Wall for Chicago. It's going to be sleepwalk, so Chicago is low. Viscerath could potentially have himself a big go. Does he have himself a big go? Massive! Oh my god, the burst! Chicago able to heal right through it though. Got plenty of mana. Maelstrom at the ready. Ghost Raptors coming back up very, very soon. Yet another interrupt onto Viscerath. Try to see if he can maybe drop down a grounding totem for him. Viscerath knocking him back for just a minute. That's going to be another limit flame just to go for a bit of recovery. My goodness. That's actually such a close one. The power of the Primalist Elemental Shaman versus the Draconic Invoker, man. Who is going to win this? Actually, it could be anyone's game. Big mastery buff for Viscerath. Looks like trying to go for sleep on Chicago. Able to connect with it. Is he able to go for big burst? If he's able to go for a big setup with Chicago, he's going to be in a fantastic spot. Big burst, potentially. Does it get interrupted? Grounded totem helping Chicago survive this. Mastery available for Viscerath. Trying to see if he can fight through these totems, but nothing he can really do about it. When they have him rooted out completely. Absolutely nothing he could do. Interrupt on the red at Chicago. Not able to really stop the nullifying, but can purge it. Trying to see if he can remove it one by one. Purging each charge with every single purge, but not a lot of mana left. I think actually decided against purging entirely just to hold on to that mana. Viscerath with a big deep breath. Did he have a shadow with a deep breath? Because if you got a big shadow with a deep breath, you could be in a fantastic situation. Eternity Surge off of this. Is that enough though? And Chicago does recover a lot of health. Fire breath for Viscerath. Try to see if he can load it up fully. I don't know if that connected because it looked like maybe Chicago was able to veer away from him for just last second. It's going to be going for disintegrates, I think, off of those Raptors, but I think meant to hit Chicago with it instead. Sleepwalk Chicago trying to get her position. Going to be immediate Living Flame Blast right after a big shadow to follow. Viscerath is kind of running low on mana, but is still trying to stay as aggressive as possible. Chicago absolutely spent double stun onto Viscerath, but Chicago is at least slept. That is going to be the totem getting taken out. Doesn't Viscerath have any more bursts to follow? Looks like maybe waiting until the next shadow is available. Getting interrupted on the blue, which is super unfortunate. Chicago with no mana. Viscerath got himself maybe some coordinates coming back up. Roar on Chicago. Maybe the sleep could do something. Is going to try to see if he can back away, get Chicago out in the open. And it's going to be yet another sleep. Maybe he has himself a good go off of that sleep. Try to go for big fire breath. Maybe that'll be doing enough. Quite a bit of damage with that shadow to follow. Eternity Surge right after. Massive distance for Chicago, but a deep breath is going to get him super low. Trinkets out of it. Battle Master Trinket. Does Viscerath have enough here? Chicago is ready to interrupt Viscerath as soon as they need to. Got himself lots of recovery off of the Maelstrom. That Ascend has just let him really scale up the damage. Put Viscerath on the back foot, on the back talon altogether. On the back claw? I don't really know. Big mastery buzz for Viscerath. Needs to use mobility in order to catch up to Chicago. But Chicago's actually leaping out in the open. Viscerath trying to see if he can disintegrate at Chicago. This way, an opportunity to actually make some damage happen. This way, he could do a lot of bursts. Trying to see if he can avoid the fire flame. And is able to do it entirely. Viscerath, does he have any more damage? Viscerath trying to go for sleepwalk. Blue, red, has access to all of it. Definitely needs to have a go at Chicago. Eternity Surge isn't enough though. Shatter does go for a grounding totem. Can Viscerath go for any disintegrates? Ground Totem is still up for just a little bit longer. Into an interrupt onto that blue. Maybe Viscerath needs to start using the red in order to start doing damage back to Chicago. At this point, you get locked down on blue so often, I think you need to use the red to fight with Chicago. 7 minutes into the duel, these two have been fighting. The Primalist versus the Evoker. Can Viscerath squeak out a win somehow with all the different casts he's got? Access to every single spell of a Dragonflight? Or is Chicago going to be able to summon up the element itself and blast out Viscerath, able to avoid the deep breath entirely, which is gonna actually help out Chicago a ton. That was a potential win condition for Viscerath. The damage and the stun could be huge, but the sleep is pretty massive as well. Gives Viscerath the opportunity to get a setup in Chicago. It's going to be a grounding totem. If Viscerath can kill grounding totem fast enough, he's actually going to be okay. Get himself a couple of procs to Chicago. Try to see if he can avoid the stun totem. May need to use a wall here in order to make sure his cast can go through all the way. And Chicago, do they have any kind of CC to follow? Disintegrates while wall is up. Can't stop Viscerath for a while. Is using hover in order to catch up with Chicago. Get himself big disintegrates. Big procs to follow. Chicago could be a bad spot. Does get a run onto Viscerath. That is going to be a fire breath though. the dot burning down Chicago for a little bit, but they don't have a lot of Maelstrom. So any kind of healing Chicago gets right now is not going to be full value. It is going to be over lower value for a while. Unless they can get themselves Ghost Raptors back up. It's going to be living for some more. Viserys is plenty healthy, but doesn't have a lot of mana if Chicago gets counter-aggressive. Root on Chicago. Shatter to follow. Do they get interrupted on? Disintegrate. Do they have a kick right here? Big deep breath to follow Chicago with a wall. No hold whatsoever. Is that enough though? Does Viserys take him with a disintegrate? Does take him. Oh my goodness. That was such a long one between those two. And Parasite up next. Well, now the dampening has scaled up to 44%. Nobody out here gonna get any healing. As Parasite just going in, Demon Summon, slaying it just for the demonics. No, he picked up the soul actually. You don't see that green, sickly light emanation around him. Big cleave onto Viserys, stun right after. Try to see if he can survive it. I don't know if he's got survivability at all. He got maybe a little bit of healing. Try to go for big mastery damage, but Parasite has him so low. Just so low. Does pick up the demonic soul as Morpheus is going to be up next, trying to go in for big damage, but does get hit with an imprison. Not a prison that he can break out of normally. Normally words could just leap out of it or shatter it with just rage itself as it could Zerkers out of it. But that one is one of those PvP imprisons that's like stay in, no healing done, no damage done, just kind of a full lockdown that you can't break out of. Morpheus does go in for a bit of a self-heal, but he won't be able to really utilize his Bloodthirst to recover. Parasite has him in a ropes right now. A Stormbolt to follow. He does have a chicken for it. Big Essence Break. Is that enough here or no? The Blade Dance just doesn't do it enough as Morpheus charges out, but doesn't quite connect. That charge went through, but Parasite does go for Vengeful Retreat to break out of the root effect early. That Vengeful Retreats, man, it's so good. If you can Vengeful Retreat ability at the right time, you can just immune the CC effect entirely. Like a Stormbolt can be in mid-air, but if you Vengeful Retreat while before it connects, it's just so perfect. Morpheus trying to avoid that Fear Sigil as best as possible. Parasite is just using that Sigil to keep Morpheus away for a bit. He just needs a stun, lockdown, maybe Essence Break combo. That's all he needs. Vengeful Retreat off of that Stormbolt, locking him out. It's just going to be that shard, but he's immune to CC. As Parasite is able to force CDs out of Morpheus and just avoid him. Stun to follow. I-Beam right after. Does he have a stun? Big Blade Dance to follow. Ooh, mad damage off of the Essence Break. That's all he needs is just a quick Essence Break, Blade Dance, and he's done. Triple's going to be up next. He just needs himself a proper stun onto Parasite, but I don't think he has any DRs though, does he? Maybe? Oh, I don't know if he needs to flag that, man. He didn't do nothing wrong. I feel like that was maybe too much. You're just playing the game. Gonna be Parasite, try to see if you can maybe get by Chill Pills, as it's gonna be a full whelping big damage. It's gonna be a full big blitz for Chill Pills. Silence on a Parasite, but he's able to escape into the twisting nether, trying to avoid Chill Pills, looking at his mobility just to escape entirely. But it's gonna be a grippy hand putting him back down on the ground, even though he's trying to eventually retreat out of it, throwing him out, just yoinking him out of the darkness just to make sure he doesn't get to avoid that obliterate. Quavo. I'm gonna call Quavo, I guess. Quavo, Windwalker? Quavo next. Jabbing onto Chilpas, doing a bit of damage in the open. Fisted Fury locking out Chilpas. He can go for a Chain of Ice, trying to go for an IBF really early on before even Electric comes out. Disarm onto Chilled, but Quav getting locked down on the Chain of Ice, slowing him down. Trying to use rolls as well as jabs in order to stay on top of Chilpas as best as possible. Use the Trinket already, so Chilpas actually got himself a win condition. If he can maybe go for a blind onto Quav, he may be able to win this. He definitely needs to lock him down in a proper stun, go for full Chain of Ice, everything, and Pillar of Frost, but I don't know if he survive it. Has to have a go right now. I don't know if he got a proper stun for the guy. He's going to be able to stun him with Remorseless Winter though, but the man uses Diffuse Magic in order to reduce a lot of the frosted damage. Quick touch of death as he gets super low. With Val going to be up next, trying to see if he can take down Quav before he goes for any kind of recovery. Does still hold on to a Karma. Val charging out at him with a Hand of Freedom and a Pony available. Quav looking for a bit of a reheal, but the Monk getting locked down and stun lock for just a second. It is not going to sit that long at all though. Very, very DR. Fistifear back at Val. Does go for Shield of Vengeance. It is going to be Lexiv. Does he break it? Does break it. But that Karma helps reverse a lot of the damage. So Monk stayed mostly safe. But he's still not out of the woods just yet. Still incredibly low on health. You see, you utilize the mobility, that incredible mobility. Maybe with a bit of that Soothing Mist catch-up. Vivify for Instacast. Maybe that'll help him. But at no help whatsoever. He basically just needs a defensive right now. He needs some kind of defensive if he wants to fight Var. I don't know if he got himself a maybe Ford Brew, because it doesn't show up as a on the UI at all. Ford Brew. So maybe he's still holding on to that in the bag, but whenever he's fighting Var, if he's going in for damage, he's definitely going to have to rotate defenses. Otherwise, monks are generally kind of squishy. Var is going to have to win until he can maybe lock him down in a proper stun, maybe a blind to follow. Or opposite, actually. Stun, Var, Quav will take a lot of damage, there's nothing he can do. Full final wreck, everything available all at once. With Stormlug is going to be up next as a Shadow Priest. Trying to see if he can walk next to Var, maybe can hit him with his Wood Eruptions. Mind Games to follow, nothing Var can really do. Is going to go for a bubble. Storm, trying to see if he can match his bullet. Doesn't give him a lot of survivability though. Shield of Vengeance for Var, but he's going to break very, very quickly. Fear walking him out in the opposite direction, trying to go for a bit of heal. But Storm just doesn't give him a chance to escape at all. With Torx Screw going to be last one left over for the team. One. I like your blades, by the way. The blue and the red sides with the effects you got going on. That actually looks kind of sick, honestly. Looks great, giving Storm an opportunity to at least get a bit of a proper honor duel. Let him at least recover a little bit of health. Look at this guy. Torx could never get to play last game, but now he does get to. Trying to at least keep it honorable here. I like it. Quava like the rapper down. Never heard of him, to be honest. Now I feel like a boomer when I say that in Chicago. Never heard of him. There's probably a song or two that I've heard in passing. But I'm not familiar with the artist. Wouldn't be able to tell you what the song name is. But if I heard it, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, I heard that one. I'll probably be like, oh, I heard that one. Amigos, bro. It's Dal, please. Dude, doesn't ring a bell. Literally Boomer Dal. Boomer Dal moment, man. Like if I heard the song, maybe be like, oh yeah, I know that one. But no idea. Not even kidding you. Not even kidding you, bro. Boomer moment. That make me feel bad. Stormbolt into Stormlux. Try to see if he can escape the Fury Warrior. Big burst comes out as the man got full recklessness. Stormlux, how would you go for a full dispersion? Just trying to see if he can bail out of there. Every defensive has gotten burned. Quick Fury into Core School, but he's able to escape. And big avalanche to follow stun though. With a Shadow Crash around the corner. Mindbender doing a lot of work. Mind Games, I don't even know if we got to connect with that one. Oh, and Torisku does end up landing that execute. He used to stay away from Beastly. If he can stay away from Beastly for like a couple of seconds, I think his second wind is going to kick in, and he may be able to actually utilize it. Does Beastly let him go for a proper honor duel? Looks like second wind's kicking in. It is 84% dampener though, so it's not really giving him a lot of health. But it looks like Beastly not letting him go for an honor duel. Super unfortunate. Beastly just not letting this man get a chance here. Torque may just have to go for big defensives. Does go for Enrage Regen, needs to go for the Bloodthirst. Does he just use it on the pets or does he use it on the Warlock? Looks like Fear on the pets. He's trying to stay on top of the Warlock as best he can. While Recklessness is up, maybe he can reflect the Fear back, and Beastly does get to, but it's no help whatsoever. Man, Beastly, why would you not give that man an honor duel? Could have given him proper honor, but just didn't want to do it, man. Did not want to do it. Alrighty, boys. Alrighty, boys. That was a long one, man, between Chicago and between Versareth. You guys didn't want to lose to one another at all. That was a clutch though. That was a close one. Oh my god. Yo, are we done for the night? I think we're done for the night, man. That's a lot of games. It's 8. It is 8. I am starving, dude. I gotta get something to eat, man. Boys, thanks so much for coming by. Super fun hanging out with every single one of you, man. Absolutely has been a blast, dude. I've been enjoying this a lot. These duels have been absolutely one of the most fun things I've ever done tonight. Actually so much fun. I want to get some keys done. I need to get some work done. All that good stuff. But that's a lot of duels for me to get through, man. This whole week has been just absolutely packed with duels. So I appreciate all of you. You guys are wonderful and beautiful. Thank you so much for joining, man. I do hope you guys enjoyed this set of duels. We'll definitely be doing more next week, man. Definitely will be doing more next week. GG's everybody. Yo, hopefully, I don't know if we'll get any more class changes at this point. Because, you know, we got 10:05 coming up. They're probably going to delay a lot of those for then. But I cannot wait to do more of these next week. But actually, the week after that. Because next week, we got ourselves, I think, the final week of like 10:02. And then week after that is 10:05, which is going to be pretty big buffs all around. That's going to be fantastic. GG's lads, GG's boys. Appreciate all of you. You guys are wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, man. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you guys more in here. 105k through the monk's wall. Was it actually? Yo, I gotta figure out what your build is then. I gotta peep that. Because then once I get my pally, if I do get one up and running over the weekend, over this next week, maybe I could try it myself as well. That sounds like it's really, really good. Is it just like a PvP only thing, or do you use it for PvE as well? Because a lot of people recently started taking a lot of the PvE builds into PvP. Because a lot of them have been really, really potent, really, really strong. And as long as you can like get the setup, get the combo off, it works really well in PvP. Some of them have like a really big ramp. Like that's kind of how Warlock started using the Tyrant. Not the Tyrant, but the Pit Lord. But it's worth, and as long as you use like all the instant cast abilities, it's like a modified. It's not the strongest Pit Lord, because most people are going to be on you trying to shut down the amount of demons you can summon. But it works really well. I'm back, boys. What's up, Jera? How you doing, my man? It's PvP. Okay. I'll probably give it a go anyway, though. We need 2 NA duels. We need 2 NA duels 2 times a week. Yo, Mav, I'll think about it, my guy. Yeah, I'll think about it. This has been really fun, though. Rip out the gear, trying to learn. Let's go, my guy. Yo, maybe Var can give you a couple of builds that he's running. A couple of tips. I'm sure he'll be down to help. Boys, thanks so much for coming by. Appreciate you. You guys are wonderful, beautiful. Thanks so much for watching. I had a lot of fun on these duels, man. Next week, another set of duels. Week after that, big duels in 10.05, man. I'm actually cannot wait. I'm so glad that this patch is coming out as early as it is, dude. In SL, it took like 100 days before a new patch, like a 0.5 patch came out. In this expansion, it's like 50 days. Or close to 60, but still really close. Really close. It's very similar to like Legion cadence of like content and stuff, which is awesome, man. Which is really cool. I am very interested to see if they'll do any more rewards for the Mage Tower. But even if the Mage Tower just returns as it is, I'll be pretty happy with it, because I'd like to go back and maybe try a couple of those challenges with the new talent builds and everything. I think it'd be really fun. Alrighty, boys. Thanks so much for coming by. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys all, I think, tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm streaming tomorrow. Normally, Sunday and Thursday are my day off. We stream Thursday. I kind of like streaming Sundays and Thursdays now. But I'll see, man. Depending on how much work I get done today. If I get a lot of done, maybe stream tomorrow. Really excited to see what will happen this expect. Dude, it could be really good. Hey, if they can get content out regularly, it could be good. I think they'd be doing a pretty good job on like feedback and changes and stuff. Like class tuning, dungeon tuning, all those things. I think they've done a fantastic job so far. Like it's been awesome to see. And like those little things of like where somebody really cares, like they really added like really tiny things that most people will notice for 10.05, but like the little care and attention has been noticeable. I mean, even talents, like they're improving talents in 10.05, right? You know how right now you have to like reset all talents? They're basically adding a button where you can reset only the class talents or the spec talents, or do all. Like you click a button and it gives you like a drop down menu, kind of like this, and it's like you want to reset left side, right side, all of it, and like you can just reset like, oh, you know what, I want to switch around this or I want to switch around that. So nice. Little things, man. Little things. It makes a big deal, though. And a bunch of UI improvements, too, which is good to see. Because they did the whole new UI thing is 6 pack. So them doing more improvements, I think, is fantastic. Just keep improving on it. So by the end of the expansion, heading into the next expansion, it's going to be like, you know, really good. And it's good that they're taking a lot of that feedback, too. You know what I mean? People tell them, hey, this works, this doesn't work. They're taking feedback, adjusting it, bringing it back. It's been really good. And if they keep doing that, man, I'll be very happy. Alrighty, I'm done, Scheme. You guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.
I think the girls with their nails done now. girls with their nails done now.